Jiang Fan just killed a mountain-splitting beast, but the secrets he carries are far more dangerous. The Ding family's power play is about to erupt. Leave a like and subscribe to walk this path. Jiang Fan rubbed his nose. If Qin Wenyuan was the classified information they were talking about, he knew far too many secrets. Not long after, the bird landed at the central residence of Cloud Sun City, the Ding family estate. A dozen Foundation establishment realm martial artists gathered nearby, their eyes vigilant. Jiang Fan was secretly in awe. So this is a martial arts family? The clan had over 10 Foundation establishment realm experts, almost more than all of Lonely Boat City combined. Even more formidable was the black-faced middle-aged man leading them, with immense strength. He had actually reached the 9th layer of Foundation establishment. One step further, and he would be on par with an elder of the Green Cloud sect, a core formation expert. Family head! Ding Wanping also saw the elder in white robes, immediately leaping down and bowing respectfully. It turned out that the black-faced middle-aged man was none other than the family head of the Ding family, Ding Zhuhui. Seeing that it was Ding Wanping and a group of Green Cloud sect disciples, Ding Zhuhui lowered his guard, asking in confusion, "Why have you returned?" Facing the family head, Ding Wanping was very humble without a trace of the arrogance he showed in the Green Cloud sect. Reporting to the family head, Sect Master Liu commanded 10 of us to come to Cloud Sun City to slay the troublesome demon beasts at 100 Beasts Mountain. Ding Zhuhui understood. His gaze swept over the people behind Ding Wanping, his brows furrowing again. Why are they all low-tier disciples? At this moment, among the clan members, a young man with broad shoulders and a robust build, exuding an 8th layer Foundation establishment cultivation, looked disdainful. Even the concubine-born son of the Ding family can be a team leader. The cultivation of the team members naturally won't be high. Hearing this, Ding Wanping looked at the young man, his fists clenching involuntarily. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. The young man before him was none other than the young master of the Ding family, Ding Tianxiang, a heaven-defying genius with an 8th-grade spirit root, now already a disciple of the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. In just 6 months, his cultivation had reached the terrifying height of the 8th layer of Foundation establishment. Noticing his behavior, Ding Tianxiang mocked, "What, you still want to fight me, the young master?" Ding Wanping quickly loosened his fists, lowering his head. "I wouldn't dare." After joining the Green Cloud sect and becoming an inner sect disciple, he had cultivated bitterly for many years to reach the 6th layer of Foundation establishment. Among the concubine-born sons of the Ding family, this was already outstanding. But compared to the young master, Ding Tianxiang, it was nothing. The disciples of the Green Cloud sect who had come along looked at Ding Wanping's submission in confusion. No wonder Ding Wanping never boasted about his influence in the Ding family. It turned out he was just an unimportant concubine-born son. "That's all you've got?" Ding Tianxiang sneered disdainfully before casting his gaze on the Green Cloud sect disciples. "A bunch of nobodies, none of whom are strong?" Suddenly, Ding Tianxiang noticed Chen Silin, and her elegant and refined aura caught his eye. Green Cloud sect disciples don't have remarkable aptitude, but their looks are quite something. Surveying Chen Silin's graceful curves, he smiled lecherously. "Not yet at Foundation establishment, huh? Come to my room tonight, I'll give you some pointers." The disciples of the Green Cloud sect were furious and ashamed. It was one thing for him to insult them, calling them nobodies, but to openly flirt with their female disciple. This was an outright humiliation. They turned their eyes to Ding Wanping, the team leader for this mission, hoping he would step up and support Chen Silin. Ding Wanping, helpless, had no choice but to steel himself and say, "Young master, this is my junior sister from Heavenly Sword Peak. Could you please give me some face and not trouble her?" "Fine." To Ding Wanping's relief, Ding Tianxiang withdrew his lecherous gaze, agreeing quite readily. But before Ding Wanping could show off to his team members, he was slapped hard across the face. Ding Tianxiang's face twisted with rage. The iron palm left a blood-red handprint on his face. Was that face enough? With that, Ding Tianxiang slapped the other side of his face. Snap! The crisp sound of the slap echoed around. "Asking me to give you face? What are you?" Getting slapped twice in succession, Ding Wanping's face burned painfully. He felt deeply humiliated. To be slapped like this in front of the Green Cloud sect disciples, he had lost all dignity. But he did not dare to be angry. Because his opponent was Ding Tianxiang, an extraordinary genius he could not afford to provoke. The disciples of the Green Cloud sect were silent with fear. They hadn't expected Tianxiang to be so domineering and insolent, treating the Green Cloud sect with such contempt. If Ding Wanping was treated this way, how better could their own fates be if they intervened? After teaching Ding Wanping a lesson, Ding Tianxiang's gaze returned to Chen Silin, filled with blatant lust. See that? They're just a bunch of trash. A year with them won't compare to one night with me. Come on, I promise you'll be pleasantly surprised. In every aspect. With a teasing smile, he extended his hand to grab Chen Silin's waist. Clang, but suddenly, the sound of a sword rang out. Cold light splashed and a sword shadow cast over. The powerful sword Qi slashed straight at Ding Tianxiang's forehead. Ding Tianxiang immediately sensed it, sneering, "A mere ant and you dare strike at me?" He casually unleashed a punch of fist force. The Qi force was fierce, resonating with a booming sound, crashing towards the sword Qi. The younger members of the Ding family looked on in admiration. It's one of the young master's signature techniques, the mountain opening fist, a mid-tier profound-level fist skill. Such powerful might. Even if casually performed, it would be unbeatable below the 8th layer of foundation establishment. This person is seeking death, daring to strike at the young master. Let's see how he withstands this punch. However, just as they finished speaking, Ding Tianxiang's mountain-opening fist Qi scattered like mist pierced by sunlight, vanishing instantly. The sword Qi was incredibly sharp. It dispersed the fist Qi, instantly slashing at Ding Tianxiang's forehead. Ding Tianxiang was immediately horrified, frantically dodging, but the sword Qi was already upon him, leaving no chance to evade. Fortunately, the Ding family head Ding Zhuhui was beside him. From the moment Jiang Fan unleashed the sword, he had grasped its extraordinary nature. Thus, he had promptly prepared, throwing a jade scroll in the way. The jade scroll was pierced by the sword Qi, releasing a mist that enveloped the sword Qi. However, Ding Zhuhui still underestimated the power of sword heart engraving. The sword Qi, though diminished greatly, still shattered the mist and struck Ding Tianxiang's forehead. Sizz, a light sound. A finger-long bloodline appeared on Ding Tianxiang's forehead. Blood beads accumulated, joining into a stream flowing downward. Flowing along were the cold sweats of the Ding family members, terrified, for they all realized. At the last moment, Jiang Fan had withdrawn his sword Qi. Otherwise, Ding Tianxiang's forehead would not bear a mere bloodline, but a crack splitting his skull, clang, the sound of the sword. Jiang Fan sheathed his sword, cold light emitting from his eyes. Next time, death! Everyone trembled inside. A feeling of coldness enveloped them. It seemed that Jiang Fan at this moment was a peerless killing sword. Once unsheathed, blood would spill. Ding Zhuhui's eyes showed astonishment as he looked directly at Jiang Fan for the first time and asked, "You are?" Chen Silin took Jiang Fan's arm with pride and said, "Sect Master Peak Disciple, Jiang Fan, and he is also my fiancé." She cast a provocative glance at Ding Tianxiang. "So what if you are a disciple of the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion? Didn't you still lose under Jiang Fan's sword?" Thinking of this, she clung to Jiang Fan's arm tighter, as if by doing so she could feel more secure. Ding Tianxiang, having just escaped being killed, now faced such provocation from Chen Silin. Anger surged in his chest, and he channeled his spiritual power, shouting, "Come, we'll go again." He had been too careless earlier. Otherwise, with his foundation establishment 8th layer cultivation, he wouldn't have lost so miserably. "Shut up," Ding Zhuhui scolded. "Guests should be treated with respect, not rudeness." If it had been disciples from other peaks, it wouldn't have mattered. His son was a disciple of the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Injuring the opponent would make even their master hesitant to react strongly. But Jiang Fan was a disciple of the Green Cloud sect master. If he let Jiang Fan get injured by Ding family disciples, wouldn't that be a slap in the face of the Green Cloud sect master? He immediately cupped his hands and said, "Disciples of the Green Cloud sect, since you were brought here by my Ding family disciple, Ding Wanping, it is my duty to take care of you." Wanping, arranged for them to stay in the residence. After saying this, he turned to leave. Just before leaving, he suddenly stopped, frowned, and reminded, "Also, Master Qin will be arriving at the Ding family soon. Make sure you restrain your companions and don't wander around the residence to avoid disturbing Master Qin." Ding Wanping stood respectfully. "Yes, family head." Thinking of Master Qin, he felt deep respect from his heart. A true first-grade soul master. Someone whose slightest movement could shake the entire Cloud Sun City. Even the enraged Ding Tianxiang, upon learning that Master Qin was about to arrive, immediately suppressed his anger and dared not cause any further trouble. Being in the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, he knew even more the exalted status of soul masters. Even core formation realm martial artists could only regard a one-star soul master as an equal. The Ding family, lacking even a core formation realm member, was tremendously fortunate to gain a one-star soul master's favor. If they displeased him and he chose not to cooperate with the Ding family, he would be a historical sinner for the Ding family. Thus, the conflict subsided. Ding Wanping led everyone to the guest rooms of the Ding family, arranging rooms for each disciple. When it came to Chen Silin, he attentively said, "Junior sister Silin, you can stay in the room next to your senior brothers. If anything happens, I can come immediately." Chen Silin said coolly, "There's no need to trouble senior brother. I will stay in the same room with Jiang Fan." If something really happened, could Ding Wanping protect her? The previous incident had already provided the answer. Ding Wanping's chest tightened with pain. He glared jealously at Jiang Fan. "Junior sister, don't overestimate Jiang Fan." Earlier, he just took advantage of the element of surprise to gain an edge over Ding Tianxiang. In a real fight, Jiang Fan would be done within 3 moves. Hearing this, Chen Silin's face showed a faint trace of disdain. She retorted bluntly, "That's still better than standing there taking slaps without fighting back." The other disciples looked at Ding Wanping, their faces emotionless. In their hearts, they felt a tinge of contempt. No matter how weak Jiang Fan's cultivation was, at least he dared to stand up for Chen Silin and successfully injured the opponent. What about Ding Wanping? He only dared to act tough in front of those weaker than himself. Facing Ding Tianxiang, he didn't even have the courage to strike back. Where did he get the gall to look down on Jiang Fan? Ding Wanping, humiliated beyond measure, clenched his fists and glared at Jiang Fan with hatred. "Dare to compete with me? Let's see who is the hero and who is the coward." He couldn't bear the humiliation. No matter what, he wanted to prove himself. In front of the Green Cloud sect disciples and Chen Silin, he wanted to regain some of his lost dignity. He couldn't beat Ding Tianxiang, but surely he could easily handle Jiang Fan, right? Jiang Fan found this person tiresome. He had been entangled again and again. Since the other party was asking for it, he might as well end it swiftly. "Fine," Jiang Fan agreed without hesitation. Ding Wanping gripped his sword hilt. "Follow me." Thus, they all moved to the Ding family's martial arts training ground. The other disciples were also very curious about where Jiang Fan got the confidence to face Ding Wanping in a duel. After all, the latter was an experienced disciple. He had been in the 6th layer of foundation establishment for quite some time, with solid foundations and ample combat experience. Jiang Fan, on the other hand, had joined the Green Cloud sect only a month ago. The two stepped out from the crowd, each gripping their weapons, facing each other, ready to fight. At the same time, the highly anticipated Master Qin finally arrived at the Ding family. He was none other than Qin Wenyuan, who had relocated his entire family from Lonely Boat City a long way away. Cloud Sun City was far more prosperous than Lonely Boat City, making it a perfect place for the Qin family to reestablish themselves. Given that the Qin family had just arrived, establishing themselves meant competing for territory with the local martial path families. So Qin Wenyuan wisely chose to form an alliance with the Ding family. First, they would take down the other 2 prominent martial path families and then secure their footing. "Master Qin, you have finally arrived." Ding Zuhui led the entire Ding family, welcoming the Qin family's grand procession outside the city gates. Ding Tianxiang accompanied them, paying his respects to Qin Wenyuan. "Master Qin, I am Ding Tianxiang, a disciple of the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Welcome to the Ding family." He mentioned his identity to add weight to the Ding family's negotiations, in hopes of securing more benefits in the alliance. Qin Wenyuan, however, responded with a slightly mocking smile. "Is Elder Fei Yunlun of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion doing well?" Ding Tianxiang was startled. "Master Qin, you know my master." Fei Yunlun, none other than his master, was a great cultivator at the Jiden 8th layer. He was very surprised that Qin Wenyuan knew him. "We are more than just acquaintances." Qin Wenyuan stroked his beard. "Elder Fei Yunlun should call me senior brother. We were from the same sect, but later I discovered my soul talent and pursued the path of a soul master. By that calculation, you are my junior nephew." Hearing this, Ding Tianxiang was greatly shocked. He felt more reverent. His already bent back bowed even deeper. "Tianxiang greets Uncle Master." Ding Zuhui dared not be disrespectful either and bowed as well. "Junior pays respects to Master Qin." He felt enormous pressure. Qin Wenyuan was not only a 1-star soul master, but also his son's martial uncle. If he got displeased, couldn't he decide his son's future and the Ding family's prosperity? Thinking of this, his demeanor grew even more respectful. In their respectful bowing, Qin Wenyuan received unprecedentedly high honor as he entered the Ding family. The alliance discussions proceeded without any obstacles. All the conditions Qin Wenyuan proposed, Ding Zhuhui had to accept entirely, not daring to oppose. Fortunately, Qin Wenyuan was not a greedy person. Although some conditions were harsh, they were still bearable. After the alliance was settled, Ding Zhuhui let out a long sigh of relief, finally putting down his worry. "Master Qin, I have prepared a banquet, please follow me." Accompanied by Ding Zhuhui, Qin Wenyuan walked to the dining hall in high spirits. He felt quite pleased. Leaving Lonely Boat City may not be a bad thing. As long as we don't provoke that 3-star soul master, the Qin family will be more glorious than ever. As they walked, passing by the martial arts training ground, he caught sight of a group of people from the corner of his eye. When he saw a figure standing in the center, he couldn't help but pause. He couldn't believe his eyes. He rubbed his aged eyes and looked again. Who else could it be but Jiang Fan? For a moment, he felt a sense of absurdity about his life. He led his entire family on a long journey to Cloud Sun City, thinking he would never see the other person again in this lifetime. Who would have thought they'd run into each other as soon as they arrived? Seeing Qin Wenyuan frozen in place, Ding Zhuhui was astonished and followed his gaze. He saw Ding Wanping and Jiang Fan about to fight. He couldn't help but feel a pang in his heart. Today was supposed to be a good day for the alliance, not a time to shed blood. Could it be that Qin Wenyuan was displeased because of this? Both surprised and angry, Ding Zhuhui hurried forward and scolded Ding Wanping. "Are you deaf? I told you not to disturb Master Qin. Why did you bring people to the martial arts training ground? Get lost." About to take revenge for past grievances, Ding Wanping was startled. He glanced back and saw Qin Wenyuan surrounded by a crowd and quickly lowered his head and hurried away. The disciples of Green Cloud sect were also tongue-tied. They had actually disturbed Master Qin, so they hurriedly left. Jiang Fan looked on curiously and saw that it really was Qin Wenyuan, making the corners of his mouth twitch. They managed to run into each other here. Today was the day of the alliance between Qin Wenyuan and the Ding family. He couldn't greet him, so he pretended not to know and left. Qin Wenyuan, whose heart had been tense, saw Jiang Fan show no other expression and sighed in relief. He muttered to himself, "Our Qin family has moved, and we have already accepted the penalty. Master Jiang won't blame us anymore." Thinking of this, his mind became active. "Since he no longer blames us, can we make friends?" That was a 3-star soul master. Even if he taught a little, it would take a lifetime to digest it all. But he also understood that a hasty friendship would be an offense. Suddenly, he remembered Ding Wanping, who was sparring with Jiang Fan, and asked, "Family head Ding, was there someone sparring just now who was a junior of your Ding family?" Ding Zhuhui nervously replied, He is a concubine's son of my Ding family. He is ignorant and clashed with Master Qin, please don't take it to heart." He hated Ding Wanping. This guy was good for nothing but trouble. Qin Wenyuan continued to ask, "And what is the relationship between him and the boy from Green Cloud sect he was sparring with?" Was he referring to Jiang Fan? How could Ding Zhuhui say otherwise? He immediately nodded and said, "Ding Wanping is the leader of this mission, and he has a very good relationship with Jiang Fan, very good indeed." Qin Wenyuan felt reassured. Since Jiang Fan was good with people from the Ding family, he, as an ally of the Ding family, would naturally also befriend Jiang Fan. Only, Ding Wanping's status was a bit too low to represent the Ding family. After some thought, he smiled and said, "I see that Ding Wanping is extraordinary and will surely achieve great things in the future. If he were to become the young master of the Ding family's future would undoubtedly be prosperous." What? Ding Zhuhui was greatly shocked. He never expected that Qin Wenyuan would want to designate Ding Wanping as the new young master of the Ding family. Wasn't Ding Tianxiang much more outstanding than Ding Wanping? Ding Tianxiang was also dumbfounded. What was going on? Why did Qin Wenyuan appreciate Ding Wanping? The rest of the Ding family also looked baffled and all turned their eyes to Ding Zhuhui for a decision. What else could Ding Zhuhui do? Although he favored Ding Tianxiang more, Ding Wanping was more favored by Master Qin. At least during the alliance, he couldn't displease Master Qin. So he could only pat Ding Tianxiang on the shoulder. "Tianxiang, I'm sorry, from today on, the position of young master will be held by Ding Wanping." Ding Tianxiang was deeply unwilling but couldn't show it and had to nod sullenly. Before long, the group just returned to their room when an elder caught up with them. "Wanping, come with me to the ancestral hall. The family head is going to appoint you as the new young master of the Ding family. What? The disciples of Green Cloud sect were confused. Suddenly, Ding Wanping had become the new young master. Wasn't Ding Tianxiang the young master? What qualifications did Ding Wanping have to take his place? Ding Wanping was also stunned, thinking he misheard. "Elder, are you mistaken?" The elder was full of joy and said, "Just now, Master Qin took a liking to you at a glance. At his suggestion, the family head decided to make you the new young master." What? Ding Wanping was overwhelmed with favor and couldn't believe it as he pointed to himself. Who was he? He didn't even qualify to meet Master Qin. Now he had gained Master Qin's favor. The sudden joy left him dizzy, and it took him a while to come to his senses. He trembled with excitement and couldn't help boasting to the disciples of Green Cloud sect. "Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Master Qin has taken a liking to me." Most of the disciples looked enviously at him. To be favored by a soul master, what an honor. However, Jiang Fan and Chen Silin were puzzled. Why would Qin Wenyuan like Ding Wanping? Chen Silin, eyes twinkling, softly muttered, "Could Qin Wenyuan have misunderstood the relationship between Jiang Fan and Ding Wanping?" Jiang Fan seemed to have a vague idea. However, whether Ding Wanping became the young master or not, it had nothing to do with him, so he didn't say anything. But his indifference made Ding Wanping unhappy. "What's wrong, Jiang Fan? Are you jealous?" Ding Wanping boasted. "I am now not only the young master of the Ding family, but also the favored one in front of Master Qin. What do you have to compete with me?" Jiang Fan moved his lips, but ultimately held back his words. He couldn't be bothered to question how Ding Wanping gained Qin Wenyuan's favor. Instead, he said to Chen Silin, "Let's go back to our room to rest for a while. We'll head out at dusk to look for demon beasts. They prefer to move after dark." This was their real goal for this trip. Chen Silin nodded, her fair cheeks slightly flushed, and followed Jiang Fan back to the room. This made Ding Wanping extremely displeased. "Damn it! I am now the young master of the Ding family and can use the entire family's power to help me hunt demon beasts. What do you have to compete with me?" In the room, Jiang Fan took out a book filled with illustrations. It was found in the bundle that Elder Zhao Wuji had sent, containing images and detailed descriptions of various demon beasts, including their habits, talents, attack methods, and weaknesses. Chen Silin, standing beside him, felt dizzy from looking at it and rubbed her sore eyes, saying, "Husband, there are thousands of kinds of demon beasts in this book. Even if you finish reading it, you might not remember everything." She admitted knowing the enemy meant winning 100 battles. Understanding demon beasts would make hunting them more efficient. But the types of demon beasts in 100 Beasts Mountain were unknown. Even if Jiang Fan saw them in the book, he might not remember. There was too little time. In just 2 days, Jiang Fan couldn't possibly familiarize himself with it all. At this moment, Jiang Fan finished the last page and gently closed the book. In his mind, clear images of the book's contents appeared. As soon as a type of demon beast appeared, he would recognize it immediately. The green dots of the void divine tree not only improved his comprehension, it seemed his memory had also become exceptionally good. What would take ordinary people months to fully grasp in the demon beast book, he had memorized in 2 days. Even if Ding Wanping had more people, he wouldn't necessarily be as efficient as Jiang Fan in hunting the same demon beasts. Jiang Fan took her soft hand and pulled her onto his lap, whispering, "Don't worry, I will earn enough merit points to allow us both to practice in the Holy Hall." Chen Silin's porcelain cheeks turned slightly pink. Listening to Jiang Fan's strong heartbeat, she felt strangely satisfied. As the two were about to get intimate, the urgent knocking on the door interrupted their moment. "Junior brother Jiang, junior sister Chen, demon beasts are attacking the city." Jiang Fan's expression changed. He immediately took Chen Silin out the door and joined the other disciples. Half a day later, Ding Wanping successfully inherited the title of young master. Not only did he change into a brand new silk robe, but the Ding family also equipped him with a mid-grade magic artifact. Most importantly, Ding Tianxiang and several young, strong members of the clan accompanied him like guards. Seeing Jiang Fan come out, Ding Wanping said smugly, "Let me introduce, these are my attendants. I'm bringing my attendants to exterminate the demon beasts together. The merit points will be mine. Is that all right?" The other disciples felt indignant. Why, they all fought alone, while Ding Wanping brought a group of people, and among them was Ding Tianxiang, whose cultivation was at the 8th layer of foundation establishment. Aside from the Demon King, any demon beast that came would be slain by them, right? They had traveled a long way here, yet couldn't even taste a sip of soup. All the meat would be devoured by Ding Wanping. However, this was the Ding family's territory. Even if they were displeased, there was nothing they could do because they didn't have any attendants with them. Jiang Fan remained expressionless. Suit yourself. Demon beasts had various talents. If one didn't understand this, it wouldn't be easy to kill them. Ding Wanping sneered, "What a tough mouth. I wonder if you'll still be so tough when fighting over the demon beasts." Boom, suddenly, a loud noise came from the east gate of the city. No need to say, it was clear it was a demon beast attacking the city. The disciples immediately followed along. Ding Wanping ordered, "Ding Tianxiang, get me the first kill. Don't let that Jiang guy overshadow me." Anger flashed in Ding Tianxiang's eyes. Once upon a time, this worthless being he never paid attention to could actually order him around. But thinking about Master Qin's favor, he could only grit his teeth, utilizing his spiritual power, and sprinted forward swiftly. Soon, they arrived, staring in astonishment at the dent in the city wall. This city wall was made of stone, solid as gold. Yet it was struck by an unknown demon beast, resulting in a dent a yard deep. The impact force was terrifying, chilling everyone to the bone. If one were struck directly, their intestines would be pierced and their internal organs shattered to death. "Everyone be careful," Ding Wanping shouted sternly. The demon beast was far stronger than he had expected. Indeed, as his gaze swept around, he saw Ding Tianxiang struggling to cope with a massive creature covered in earth-yellow scales, shaped like a hippo. Unlike a hippo, its eyes were blood-red, and its mouth was filled with jagged teeth like a wolf's fang. Its nose tip was smooth and pitch black, occasionally emitting an eerie red glow. Ding Tianxiang, with a cultivation at the 8th layer of foundation establishment, wielded powerful techniques, but they only created blood marks on the demon beast's body. Not only did he fail to kill it, but he also enraged the demon beast tremendously. Thus, even though Ding Tianxiang arrived first, he was unable to complete the counterkill. Ding Wanping was astounded. "What kind of demon beast is this?" The disciples present, as well as the strong young members from the Ding family who accompanied them, all looked confused. No one recognized the demon beast at the scene. Jiang Fan was also surprised. "There's actually such a demon beast in 100 Beasts Mountain." This was a rare variant among demon beasts, called mountain-splitting beast. The scales on its body were top-grade materials for making defensive magical artifacts. Extremely tough, normal magic artifacts and techniques couldn't break through them. Without understanding its weak point, even having a higher cultivation by several levels would be useless. Yet such a demon beast was rarely seen even among distant beast tides. There was actually one hidden in 100 Beasts Mountain. While contemplating the mountain-splitting beast's weak points, he decisively drew his black sword and jumped off the city wall. Seeing Jiang Fan in action, Ding Wanping grew anxious and ordered the remaining Ding family members to join the battle. Under Ding Tianxiang's suppression, the mountain-splitting beast was already difficult to go wild. With a few more strong young members from the Ding family joining, it immediately struggled to defend itself. This completely incited the beast's ferocity. As it repelled several people, it growled to the sky, and its pitch-black nose glowed a strongly blood-red hue, like a red-hot branding iron. Seeing this, Jiang Fan's eyelids twitched. He shouted, "Get back!" He quickly utilized his movement technique, leaping to a distance. Even Ding Tianxiang, sensing the danger, immediately retreated. The young, strong members of the Ding family, also sensing the danger, hurriedly scattered. The mountain-splitting beast fixed its gaze on Ding Tianxiang, roaring as it charged at him. Ding Tianxiang had the city wall behind him, nowhere to escape. At the critical moment, a disciple from the green cloud sect threw down a suspension ladder, enabling him to grab and leap upward, just narrowly avoiding the beast's charge. Boom! A loud noise. The city wall was dented another yard deep. If he had been hit just now, Ding Tianxiang's fate would have been evident. He wiped his cold sweat, showing a look of relief from escaping death. But Jiang Fan reminded again, "Be careful, it's not over yet." The mountain-splitting beast suddenly raised its head, and its blood-red nose aimed at Ding Tianxiang from a distance. A blood-red solid wave rapidly surged towards Ding Tianxiang. Ding Tianxiang turned pale with shock. Even without the wave coming, he felt its enormous threat. If hit, the impact within the wave would undoubtedly shatter his body. At the critical moment, he steeled his heart. He tugged hard on the suspension ladder. The green cloud sect disciple gripping it unexpectedly was flung down. Tianxiang leveraged to jump up, grabbed the city wall's edge, and flipped back onto it. The green cloud sect disciple flung down screamed miserably, falling directly into the path of the blood-red wave. This scene infuriated the green cloud sect disciples. They had kindly rescued Tianxiang, only to be used as a shield. Yet, in the heat of the moment, they couldn't rescue their companion. They could only hear his helpless scream. Jiang Fan's expression also changed dramatically. Never could he have imagined Tianxiang was so despicable. Without further hesitation, he swiftly used his movement technique, seemingly running on the walls. As the blood-red wave surged, he timely caught the green cloud sect disciple, barely dodging the edge of the wave. Boom, the wave eventually struck the city wall's edge, creating a long gap several yards wide. The disciples on the wall were horrified. Can we really handle this demon beast? Better notify the strong members of the Ding family, let them join in, someone suggested, retreating. Even Tianxiang no longer dared to attack rashly, saying, "This beast is beyond our handling. Quickly notify the strong members of the three great families." For the disciples left outside the city, they could only fend for themselves. Furious from repeated failed attacks, the mountain-splitting beast stared viciously at Jiang Fan with blood-red eyes. It pawed the ground with its hooves, preparing to attack. Jiang Fan set down the rescued green cloud sect disciple, urging, "Leave quickly." Gripping the black sword, he held his breath and focused his mind. Despite its toughness, the mountain-splitting beast had a clear weak point. Rumbling, the beast suddenly shot forward like a spring. Its nose glowed blood-red again. Witnessing its terrifying nose, the disciples' hearts pounded. The disciples shouted, "Get out of the way, move quickly." "Run, junior brother Jiang." However, not only did Jiang Fan not dodge, he stared at the beast's blood-red nose, rapidly charging towards it, utilizing his movement technique. The mountain-splitting beast was also startled by Jiang Fan's sudden movement. Panic flashed in its eyes. It quickly retracted the blood-red glow from its nose, but it was already too late. In an instant, Jiang Fan rushed forward. As the last bit of blood-red glow disappeared from its nose, he thrust his sword forward. Strangely enough, the mountain-splitting beast's body was as hard as iron, and so was its nose. But when accumulating the blood glow, the nose became incredibly soft. The black sword instantly pierced through, and with the mountain-splitting beast's forward momentum, the sword tip continued to go deeper, until only the sword hilt remained outside. At this moment, the black sword had already penetrated the mountain-splitting beast's skull. As Jiang Fan activated his spiritual power, the black sword jolted violently, shattering everything inside its skull. A roar, the mountain-splitting beast let out a cry of pain, with blood spraying from its 7 orifices. Its massive body collapsed heavily to the ground. Jiang Fan pulled out the black sword. A white viscous brain matter mixed with a yellowish round bead gushed out. As anticipated, Jiang Fan caught it in his hand. This was the beast core of the demon beast. It contained demon power and some inherent talents. The mountain-splitting beast's innate power was tremendous. If this beast core could be refined into a magic artifact, it would have some abilities to split mountains and rocks. It could be sold for a high price. Of course, the scales on its body were also valuable. Jiang Fan wouldn't waste them. He stripped off all the scales. Additionally, its tendons, innards, blood, and flesh were all valuable. Indeed, just after peeling the scales, a local merchant came out and bought the remaining parts for a high price of 200 crystal stones. On the city wall, the disciples watched in astonishment. Junior brother Jiang, did he kill the mountain-splitting beast all by himself? This was the ferocious demon beast that even Tianxiang and the expert youths of the Ding family couldn't handle. Not just couldn't handle. They were clearly being chased and ran away in a sorry state. That's why it still takes the disciples of our green cloud sect to handle it, while those martial path families are nothing special. At this moment, Ding Zhuhui led the family experts over, sensing something was wrong. What's happening? Why is there such a huge commotion? He thought they could easily handle the demon beasts attacking the city. But after hearing several earth-shaking noises, they realized something was wrong and rushed over immediately. Just at this moment, the scalpless body of the mountain-splitting beast was being carried back into the city by merchants. Ding Zhuhui's pupils contracted. Mountain-splitting beast? A few days ago, it led the demon beasts to attack the city and injure the Hong family head. You actually killed it. Immediately, he looked at Tianxiang, his face full of joy. Tianxiang, you have surprised your father. I must publicize this, letting Cloud Sun City and the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion know that our Ding family has produced an extraordinary dragon. Ding Tianxiang's face looked terrible. He remained silent with a dark expression. The rescued disciples of the Green Cloud sect crawled back and heard these words, couldn't help but sneer. Ding family head, don't overestimate your son. The mountain-splitting beast being killed had nothing to do with him. It was junior brother Jiang who single-handedly killed it. What? Jiang Fan? Ding Zhuhui couldn't believe it, having seen with his own eyes how formidable the mountain-splitting beast was. What cultivation did Jiang Fan have to single-handedly kill it? Tianxiang, is this true? Ding Zhuhui asked with a frown. Ding Tianxiang glared at Jiang Fan with hatred, unwillingly said, he was just lucky, stumbled into killing it. Upon hearing this, Ding Zhuhui stroked his beard and nodded. He could only attribute it to luck. Otherwise, there was no reason his son couldn't kill the demon beast, while an obscure junior could succeed alone. At that moment, suddenly several smoke plumes rose from the distant forest, accompanied by the sound of snapping trees. As if something was coming in groups, Ding Zhuhui's expression changed slightly and said, it's a beast horde, he realized and said. The mountain-splitting beast was the vanguard, breaking the city first to pave the way for the beast horde behind. Do these demon beasts have such high spiritual intelligence? During his shock, indeed, dozens of demon beasts surged out from the forest. Only 3 of them were at the Qi Cultivation realm. The remaining 10 were all in the Foundation Establishment realm. Most of them had fur and were not the indestructible type. Ding Wanping's eyes sparkled and said, now it's my turn to show my prowess, right? Ding Tianxiang, and all of you, charge forward and kill them for the young master. Ding Tianxiang shot a sideways glance at Ding Wanping, but seeing that Jiang Fan had already engaged the beast tide, he immediately leaped off the city wall. In addition, at the Ding Mansion's entrance, he had already fallen behind Jiang Fan twice. This had filled him with rage. Therefore, upon encountering the demon beasts head-on, he attacked with all his might. However, this group of demon beasts were very strong. Although not as difficult as the mountain-splitting beast, they were agile with sharp claws and possessed various strange abilities. For example, the demon wolf he was facing at the moment could perform a sonic attack. A burst of howling, and the sound wave paralyzed his body. If his spiritual power hadn't been strong enough to disperse the paralysis in time, the demon wolf would have clawed open his stomach. Therefore, after dozens of exchanges, he barely managed to kill a demon wolf. Meanwhile, elsewhere, casualties had already occurred. Several disciples of the Ding family had been bitten by demon beasts, some even dying on the spot. Devastatingly tragic. This made Ding Zhuhui on the city wall feel extremely distressed. But what made him even more unbearable was, while the Ding family's disciples were struggling to kill the demon beasts, a swift and agile figure moved like a ghost through the beast tide. He wielded the black sword. When he did strike, it was fast, accurate, and ruthless, precisely hitting the demon beast's vital points. One strike, instant kill. In just half a cup of tea's time, he had killed a full 5 Foundation Establishment realm demon beasts. In contrast, the Ding family had only managed to kill one. Such a stark contrast made Ding Wanping anxious and angry. What's with Jiang Fan? Despite his low cultivation, he kills demon beasts easier than Ding Tianxiang. At this rate, isn't he going to take all the merit points? Ding Zhuhui couldn't sit still either. Jiang Fan not only killed demon beasts, but was also humiliating the Ding family. If Qin Wenyuan heard about how pathetic the Ding family was, how would he regard the Ding family and their cooperation? Clenching his teeth, he jumped off the city wall, joining the demon beast killing ranks. The Green Cloud sect disciples were speechless. The Ding family head had been forced to risk his reputation. With the addition of the 9th layer Foundation Establishment cultivator, the Ding family's situation greatly improved. Centered around him and Ding Tianxiang, the Ding family joined forces to kill the demon beasts with much more ease. Since the city wall hadn't been breached, the demon beasts were caught off guard and trapped outside the walls, unable to escape. This allowed Jiang Fan and the Ding family to entrap and slaughter them. Soon the small beast tide was completely annihilated. Not one was left. The final tally, Jiang Fan alone killed 7 Foundation Establishment realm demon beasts. The Ding family collectively killed 3 Foundation Establishment realm demon beasts and 3 Qi Cultivation realm demon beasts. Converting it to merit points, Jiang Fan alone had more than the combined Ding family. Ding Wanping couldn't believe it and angrily questioned, Jiang Fan, did you cheat? No wonder he doubted it. Even those green cloud sect disciples standing on the city wall who hadn't had time to take action found it hard to accept. Family head Ding, the Ding family's strongest prodigy, along with Ding Wanping and many skilled junior members of the Ding family. Even with all their combined effort, their achievements were not even half of Jiang Fan's. Who would believe such a tale? Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan leisurely picked out a beast core and stuffed it into his pouch. Then he glanced at him, expressionless, and said, "Cheating. Yes, yes, I communicated with the demon beasts and told them to stand still and wait for me to kill them. Are you satisfied now?" Ding Zhuhui looked at Ding Wanping with disappointment. How foolish must one be to accuse the opponent of cheating? This wasn't any kind of competition. It was a face-to-face battle with demon beasts. How could there be talk of cheating? Losing wasn't the issue. Being a sore loser was truly humiliating. He couldn't help but feel ashamed for Ding Wanping. However, regarding Jiang Fan's performance, he also finally had some thoughts, frowning as he said, "I didn't think of it. A dignified disciple of the Green Cloud Sect, and yet you have learned the Spirit Beast Sect's techniques. If the Green Cloud Sect master finds out, you won't escape a punishment." He mistakenly assumed that the reason Jiang Fan could quickly kill one Foundation Establishment Realm demon beast after another was because he used some of the Spirit Beast Sect's techniques to confuse the demon beasts. Only then could he achieve a one-hit kill effect while the demon beasts were distracted, completely unaware. Every sword strike from Jiang Fan hit the demon beast's most fatal weak points. Of course, he didn't need to explain this. He just continued expressionlessly to take the demon cores and valuable materials from the demon beasts. After tidying up the scene, Jiang Fan asked, "Are all the demon beasts that attacked Cloud Sun City here?" Ding Zhuhui looked at the more than half pile of demon beast corpses in front of Jiang Fan, his lips twitching slightly, and nodded. "They've all been killed, including the few that the three great families killed during the last attack. All the remaining ones were accounted for here. The crisis in Cloud Sun City was resolved." A Green Cloud Sect disciple sighed in relief. This mission wasn't as dangerous as described. Ding Wanping, who looked unwell, snorted, "That's because this is Cloud Sun City, with strong members of the Ding family guarding it. During the last attack, the strong members of my Ding family chased them away. Without my Ding family, Cloud Sun City would have already fallen." It wasn't that Liu Wuchen was trying to alarm people. The same demon beasts, if they appeared in Lonely Boat City, the city would likely have already fallen, and there would be great suffering. Not to mention the subsequent small beast tides. Just that mountain-splitting beast alone, who in Lonely Boat City could resist it? Cloud Sun City being safe was indeed thanks to the strong members of the three great families in the city. The Green Cloud Sect disciple who was rebuked muttered angrily, "So many people in the Ding family, yet not as effective as junior brother Jiang alone. What are you boasting about?" Ding Wanping glared angrily. But the facts left him speechless. Ding Zhuhui also felt humiliated and said, "Green Cloud Sect disciples, since the beast threat is resolved, you should leave." He waved his hand, not even bothering to host a thank-you banquet, directly seeing them off. The Green Cloud Sect disciples also said nothing, summoning their flying creatures, preparing to leave. Chen Silin glanced at them coldly, feeling it was unjust for Jiang Fan. Suddenly her eyes gleamed, pretending to scold him lightly. "Husband, why didn't you hold back? You've made the Ding family lose face." Jiang Fan said helplessly, "It's their own incompetence." "Let's go too." He embraced Chen Silin, leaping onto the flying creature under the angry glares of the Ding family. This was sheer humiliation. However, the Ding family indeed performed poorly this time. Initially, they looked down on the Green Cloud Sect disciples. Now, they were heavily humiliated by the Green Cloud Sect disciples. While they were feeling resentful, the flying creatures that had just taken off suddenly flapped their wings in panic, soaring into the high skies, as if they sensed a huge danger. At the same time, in the distant forest, ancient trees fell in clusters, as if some enormous creature was charging towards them. Ding Zhuhui exclaimed, "Oh, is there a straggler?" Then he took the initiative to face it, confidently saying, "This one is ours, the Ding family will handle it." As the forest was knocked aside, a giant wolf-like beast as large as a pavilion burst forth, carrying an enormously fierce aura. Its body was covered in white fur. Its eerie green eyes were filled with ferocity. Seeing the ground full of demon beast corpses, it let out an angry growl, glaring fiercely at the approaching Ding Zhuhui. Being stared at, Ding Zhuhui's hair stood on end, feeling an inexplicable sense of dread. But with all the martial artists in the city and the Green Cloud sect disciples watching, as the head of the Ding family, retreating was not an option. Moreover, just a mere foundation establishment realm demon beast. How could he, a martial artist at the 9th layer of foundation establishment, be afraid of it? Giant wave sword? He didn't retreat but advanced, holding a blue long sword and fiercely thrust it toward the giant wolf demon's eye. On the flying creatures in the sky, Jiang Fan watched the absurdly large wolf demon and couldn't help but mutter, "White crystal beast." But even the largest foundation establishment realm white crystal beast is only the size of an adult bull. Why is this one different from the descriptions in the illustrated guide? Suddenly, Jiang Fan thought of something. His heart skipped a beat and his face changed dramatically. He urgently shouted, "Move away quickly! This is the Beast King from 100 Beasts Mountain!" Only a white crystal beast that broke through the foundation establishment realm to reach the core formation realm could grow to such an enormous size. And of the core formation realm demon beasts within the Green Cloud sect territory, there was only one. That was the Beast King of 100 Beasts Mountain. This Beast King had actually targeted Cloud Sun City. No wonder that rare mountain-splitting beast appeared here. It was brought by the Beast King. What? Upon hearing the urgent warning from the sky, Ding Zhuhui was startled. This Beast King was a creature even the Green Cloud sect elders were wary of. Otherwise, how could it be allowed to lead 100 Beasts Mountain and become a threat within the territory? Knowing it was the Beast King, Ding Zhuhui's heart was thrown into chaos, and his spiritual power immediately became disordered. His sword strike, therefore, lost 30% of its power. As a result, not only did he fail to injure the white crystal beast, but he also angered it. Roar, the white crystal beast directly launched one of its innate divine abilities, a sonic attack. Ding Zhuhui was instantly knocked backward by the impact. Blood spurted from his ears. He spat out a stream of blood, staining his chest. His burly body crashed heavily onto the city wall, knocking over a group of Ding family members. Everyone hurriedly helped him up, only to find his chest caved in. He was gravely injured, in just one move. One of Cloud Sun City's top 3 experts, Ding Zhuhui, was brought to such an end. Everyone looked at the white crystal beast, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. A tremendous fear enveloped the entire scene. It's the Beast King, a core formation realm Beast King. Run, the crowd panicked, scattering in all directions. However, an enraged Beast King, how could mere city walls stop it? It kicked off with its legs and leaped easily onto the city wall, looking down ferociously at the countless humans within the wall, like a hungry wolf entering a sheep pen. But just when everyone thought it was about to leap into the city, it suddenly turned abruptly, leaping into the air using the city wall, its bloodthirsty mouth gnashing toward the Green Cloud sect disciples in midair. Standing on the flying beasts, the disciples of the Green Cloud sect didn't expect this. The beasts panic and scatter in all directions. The flying beast under Jiang Fan and Chen Silin accidentally collided with a nearby beast. Their bodies lost control and started to roll in midair. Jiang Fan managed to grab the beast's neck in time, but Chen Silin wasn't so quick to react, being thrown out on the spot. Where she landed was right in the gaping maw of the white crystal beast. "Damn it!" Jiang Fan growled and leaped down. He quickly executed an earth-level fragmented technique he comprehended at the Moke stone wall. Shattering Star 3 Extremes, Army Breaking. His robust spiritual power condensed to its limit, transforming into a tangible chi arrow that shot out. In an instant, it grazed Chen Silin's arm and pierced into the mouth of the white crystal beast. Poof, this was an earth-level finger technique, capable of easily piercing through a half-meter-thick stone wall. No matter how mighty the Beast King in the core formation realm, how could its fragile throat withstand this finger strike? The chi arrow penetrated through its throat, shooting out with a spray of blood from its neck. Roar! The white crystal beast let out a pained howl, its massive body plummeting from the sky, causing the ground to tremble loudly upon impact. Jiang Fan seized this opportunity to catch Chen Silin. He then stepped onto the high city wall, running swiftly along the rooftops into the city. Some fleeing martial artists inadvertently turned back to witness this scene, all showing expressions of shock. A mere disciple at the 4th layer of foundation establishment injured the Beast King? However, the white crystal beast was thoroughly enraged. Its blood-red eyes locked onto Jiang Fan, exuding a murderous glare. With a powerful leap, it pounced towards Jiang Fan, who was climbing the city wall. Jiang Fan felt a massive shadow enveloping him from behind. The foul breath from the Beast King's mouth hit him face-on. At this moment, his whole body bristled with hair standing on end. A gigantic sense of crisis crashing down on him at the critical moment. He decisively drew his black sword, slashing a fierce strike backward without even looking. Splitting light sword? With no time to gather enough spiritual power, he was forced to use the first form of sword heart engraving. Once the longsword was drawn, the air surged wildly. The extremely sharp sword Qi struck the white crystal beast behind him. Immediately, it turned into a thunderous explosion. Chen Silin, unprepared, shuddered, her ears buzzing from the shock. The white crystal beast did not expect this unassuming human to wield a second Earth-level technique. The sword Qi blasted away a large chunk of its fur, revealing its ghastly white bones. Bones covered in dense cracks. This sword had injured its tendons and bones. At the same time, it knocked the beast off the city wall. Taking advantage of this, Jiang Fan climbed the wall and jumped into the city. Roar. Blood dyed the white crystal beast's head, making its already ferocious face look even more terrifying. Its blood-red eyes glared around the crowd menacingly. It soon locked onto Jiang Fan. With a fierce glint in its eyes, it jumped into the city in pursuit. With a single step, it easily crushed a house. Along its path, rows of houses collapsed with loud crashes. Jiang Fan glanced back, feeling chills down his spine. This was a core formation realm existence. How could he deal with it alone? He gritted his teeth. Jiang Fan turned into an alley and placed Chen Silin into a courtyard. He then climbed the roof and led the beast outside the city. If it remained in the city, it would definitely bring forth a series of bloody massacres, killing the innocent. He also wouldn't be able to fully utilize his techniques in a crowded place, avoiding hitting others. He had to lure it out of the city first. The repeatedly injured white crystal beast was consumed with hatred for Jiang Fan, chasing him as he ran out. Seeing it catch up, Jiang Fan decisively used solitary wild goose shadow, his speed increasing several times over. Although it was still not as fast as the white crystal beast, but it was enough to avoid immediate capture. He leaped swiftly along the way. Unintentionally, he approached the Ding family. The heavily injured Ding Zhuhui saw the white crystal beast chasing Jiang Fan towards them. With a pale face, he shouted in panic, "Close the gate. Close the gate quickly. Don't let Jiang Fan bring the Beast King here." The Ding family members immediately shut the gates. The clan members huddled together as if facing a great enemy. Jiang Fan's face darkened. He continued to run outside. Along the way, families large and small all panikedly shut their doors, not daring to let Jiang Fan in, afraid of bringing disaster upon their own families. A bunch of selfish fools. Jiang Fan was extremely disappointed. An anthill could kill an elephant. If only all the families united, gathering all their strong martial artists, even this white crystal beast would run away in fear. Their self-preservation allowed the beast to rampage through the city. At that moment, an imposing family mansion suddenly had an old man with white hair jump out. He drew a longbow and shot an arrow at the white crystal beast, shouting, "Monstrous beast! Do you think Cloud Sun City has no one to stop you? How dare you behave so arrogantly?" Clang. The beast's fur, stiff as steel needles, easily deflected the arrow. It gave the old man a fierce look and continued to chase Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan also glanced at the old man in surprise. He noticed the plaque on the mansion bearing the words "Lin Family." "Young friend, there is a lake 10 miles east. This beast fears water." The old man could not help Jiang Fan, but he could give advice. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. One of the white crystal beast's weaknesses was indeed fear of water. However, upon hearing it was 10 miles away, his heart sank. With his movement technique, he couldn't run that far. He regretted not having cultivated solitary wild goose shadow to the second layer. If he had the technique at its second layer, the demon wolf wouldn't have been able to catch up. At this point, he could only give it his all and try. Soon after, he rushed out of Cloud Sun City, speeding towards the east. However, after just 3 miles, the white crystal beast leaped at him from behind, bringing with it a strong stench. The massive shadow once again enveloped Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan was startled. He turned and unleashed a sword strike he had been preparing for a long time. The third form of sword heart engraving. Heaven and earth star fall? In an instant, the air around Jiang Fan boiled and churned wildly. Dust on the ground surged several meters high. Nearby grass and trees turned to powder instantly. The power was so strong, it was utterly destructive. The white crystal beast, having been bested twice, was now on guard. It quickly retracted its neck, arched its back, and placed its forelimbs in front of its head. All its white fur stood on end, like a porcupine. However, It still underestimated the ultimate technique of sword heart engraving. At that moment, the world fell silent. Not even the beast itself could hear anything due to the terrifying, thunderous explosion. Next, a heart-piercing pain shot through its back. The massive shockwave hurled it, the size of a pavilion dozens of meters away. When the dust settled, ignoring the ringing in its ears, the beast quickly turned to look behind, gasping in shock. There was no more white fur on its back, only a bloody, mangled mass of flesh, and the ghastly sight of white bones. You could even see the organs under the ribs. Just a little more and it would have pierced through its body. The white crystal beast showed signs of narrowly escaping death. When it looked at Jiang Fan again, there was a trace of caution in its eyes. But mostly it was filled with venomous hatred. Its front limbs started scraping the ground, a continuous growl emitting from its mouth. A strange black glow began to radiate around it. Jiang Fan's heart skipped a beat. This was the white crystal beast's ultimate skill, Death Shadow. When activated, its speed would become unparalleled. Even without using any demon power, the sheer speed would allow its claws to easily cut through any divine weapons. Martial artists of the same realm facing this skill had to either flee or die. There was no third option, but Jiang Fan couldn't escape at all. Whoosh! The white crystal beast turned into an undetectable black shadow, instantly reaching in front of Jiang Fan. The already raised, resilient wolf claw fiercely swiped at Jiang Fan's chest. With this swipe, Jiang Fan would certainly be sliced into several pieces. However, the white crystal beast suddenly realized Jiang Fan wasn't as panicked as it thought. On the contrary, a hint of excitement lingered at the corner of his mouth. At the same time, the white crystal beast noticed. Jiang Fan's black sword had somehow been replaced with a long sword radiating a purple glow. This sword filled it with immense unease. A chilling sensation of death rapidly swept through its body. It was terrified, afraid, and filled with regret. It didn't understand why pursuing this human boy was so bizarre. Clearly, his cultivation wasn't strong, but he was more troublesome and scarier than those martial artists at the 7th or 8th Foundation establishment layer. But it was still a beast king. Facing life and death, it retained a bit of rationality. Whoever strikes first will live. Hesitation meant death, so the swiping claw became faster, more accurate, and more ruthless. It had only one thought: it's either you die or I die. Jiang Fan understood this too, so he used all his physical strength and spiritual power to drive the purple sword. Thanks to the iron blood true scripture, he found it much easier to operate the purple sword than before. Therefore, this heavy giant sword swiftly sliced toward the white crystal beast. A claw, a sword, both aimed to kill, attacking each other. Thunk, clang in the blink of an eye. The white crystal beast's claw hit Jiang Fan's chest. But Jiang Fan's purple sword successfully slashed its claw. Howl! How formidable was the purple sword. It could cut anything from a distance, let alone up close. The extremely hard wolf claw was sliced like tofu. Floods of wolf blood gushed out. The white crystal beast let out a heart-wrenching roar. And Jiang Fan, he was merely sent flying by the tremendous force, crashing into and breaking a towering ancient tree. Though the impact caused internal injuries and blood trickled from his mouth, his chest wasn't pierced by the claw. Under his tattered clothes, a shiny black mysterious iron armor was visible. It was the treasured artifact of Carefree Peak, the Meridian mysterious iron armor. Seeing Jiang Fan was fine while it had lost a leg. The white crystal beast was both shocked and furious. But when it looked at the purple sword, a deep fear appeared in its eyes. At this moment, it dared not seek revenge again. It turned and limped eastward, fleeing. Jiang Fan wiped the blood from his mouth, his eyes cold. "Now that you're hurt, I'll finish you off." After finally striking it by surprise, how could he easily let it go? Of course. Even a crippled white crystal beast wasn't something Jiang Fan could handle. He could only follow it from afar, waiting for the right moment to strike again. If one sword stroke wasn't enough, then two. If he could wear it down to death, that would be best. If not, at least it would vent some of the anger from being hunted. The injured white crystal beast was still very fast. After only a few miles, it had left Jiang Fan far behind. At this moment, it arrived in front of a lake, just as it was about to find a crevice in the rock to hide and heal. A sudden elderly voice came from above. How did the Beast King of 100 Beasts Mountain get injured like this?" The white crystal beast's hair stood on end, its pupils constricting. It was a beast king at the core formation realm. Its sensing abilities were much stronger than humans of the same realm. How could anyone approach it without its sensing? Terrified, it jumped up. Looking up, it saw a giant black hawk. On the hawk's back were an elderly man and a young girl. The young girl, wearing an arrogant pink robe, had a beautiful braid and carried a finely crafted green sword on her back. The elderly man was dressed in a Taoist robe with a bagua mirror at his waist, holding a horsetail whisk. He looked kind and gentle. However, the white crystal beast instinctively felt fear. It couldn't stop trembling all over. It could sense that the old man was terrifying like an abyssal beast. Under his gaze, it didn't dare to move. The girl in pink examined its bloodied head, the wound on its neck, the gruesome injury on its back, and the severed limb. She couldn't help but shiver. It could only be a Green Cloud sect elder who did this, she muttered. The old man slightly nodded. He also thought that only a Green Cloud sect elder could injure the white crystal beast like this. Vice Pavilion Master, let's keep going. We need to deliver the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's decision to sect Master Liu as soon as possible. The girl in pink had no interest in the white crystal beast. Compared to that, she seemed eager to go to the Green Cloud Pavilion. When did you start caring about the pavilion's business? The old man couldn't help but laugh. Clearly, you want to challenge Liu Xianxian again. The girl's face turned red, exposed. She didn't bother to deny. That's right, I want to spar with her. Last year, she was lucky to tie with me. I'm not convinced. I must defeat her and make her admit my superiority. The old man smiled helplessly. As the proud daughter of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, with an 8th grade spirit root, her talent far surpassed Liu Xianxian's. But in their last duel, relying on various means, Liu Xianxian had managed a tie with the girl in pink. This was a shame she could not accept. She had worked hard for a year, determined to conclusively defeat Liu Xianxian. Rest assured, unless she had world-class guidance, it would be hard to beat you. Talent determined one's upper limit. Over a year, the girl in pink's strength had reached a very high level. Liu Xianxian couldn't tie with her again. Then let's hurry. The girl in pink's eyes gleamed, eagerly urging on. The old man smiled. No rush, let's deal with this beast king first. Consider it a small favor to the Green Cloud sect elder. Having said that, he put away his smile, looking down at the white crystal beast below. The beast king was terrified, its tail tucked, hopping away on 3 legs. The old man's expression remained unchanged, and he flicked his horsetail whisk. With a dull thud, the white crystal beast, having run several dozens of feet, suddenly let out a miserable cry. Blood streamed out from its orifices, clearly severely injured internally. Yet with its robust body, it continued running into the distant woods. Oh, it survived my strike. I underestimated this beast. Take another hit. The old man's eyes sharpened. He was about to chase after it. Suddenly, a flash of purple light appeared from the forest, piercing through the enormous body of the white crystal beast. Without even a scream, its body collapsed, splitting into 2. Witnessing this, the old man took a deep breath. Such strong sword chi, could it be Huang Zhanshan from the Green Cloud sect? Within the Green Cloud sect, only he could release such powerful sword chi. The girl in pink showed a hint of surprise, too. Didn't they say the Green Cloud sect had no notable experts? This Supreme Elder seems quite formidable, the old man revealed a smirk. Looks like after years of seclusion, his swordsmanship has improved. Let's go meet him. They quickly descended. The old man laughed heartily towards the forest. Old Huang, you'll have to share this beast king with me. He couldn't finish the sentence. The girl in pink was also dumbfounded, because emerging from the forest was not Huang Zhanshan. But instead, it was a young man. The elder and the girl in the pink dress were both stunned. The one who made the move was not Huang Zhanshan, but rather a young man who was excessively young. Was the terrifying strike just now really done by this young man before them? Jiang Fan watched the two in front of him with some dread, especially this elder. Just now, he witnessed the elder's strike from afar, gravely injuring the white crystal beast almost to death. He knew very well how resilient the white crystal beast was. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't inflict fatal damage on it. Yet the elder had nonchalantly flicked his horsetail whisk and almost killed it. This power was horrifyingly high. Just as he didn't know how to speak, the elder took the lead and asked, "Who are you?" Jiang Fan thought for a moment, then took out paper and pen, writing down Green Cloud Sect in 3 characters. To avoid revealing more, he decided to revert to his old ways, continuing to pretend to be mute. "Impossible," the girl said definitively. "Since when does the Green Cloud Sect have a disciple as powerful as you? To injure the white crystal beast like that, and then slice it in 2 with a single strike. I doubt even some elders could manage that." The elder scrutinized Jiang Fan, pondering aloud. "Could it be that you are a newly promoted elder of the Green Cloud Sect?" He had heard that the sole master of the Green Cloud sect was fond of concocting spirit pills for longevity and beauty. Could this youth before him actually be a middle-aged elder who had taken such pills? Only such an explanation could account for his youthful appearance and ridiculously strong power. Jiang Fan was taken aback for a moment. Nice fellow, he hadn't even thought of an explanation yet. The elder had explained it to him. Jiang Fan nodded and penned, "Yes, that's correct." "May I ask who you are?" To avoid further questions, he inquired back. The elder smiled, flicking his horsetail whisk, and said, "That you do not recognize me confirms you are a newly promoted elder. I am Yunzi, one of the 4 vice pavilion masters of the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion." What? Jiang Fan's heart shook, nearly crying out in surprise. To think he had run into such a significant figure. No wonder he was so formidable, injuring the Beast King with a mere flick of the whisk. He quickly bowed in salute. The girl in the pink dress eyed him skeptically. A newly promoted elder so young. "How is your swordsmanship so powerful?" She scanned Jiang Fan, curious when she noticed a sword wrapped in cloth on his back. Just as she was about to inquire further, Yunzi chided softly, "Do not be rude. It is a grave taboo to pry into others' martial skills." He then bowed slightly to Jiang Fan. "This is Xianxia. She is young and lacks decorum. Please do not mind her words. What martial artist doesn't have their own secrets? It is quite impolite to rashly inquire into others' martial origins." Fortunately, the elder was understanding, sparing Jiang Fan some trouble. Jiang Fan nodded, writing, "This Beast King was slain by the elder. It should rightfully belong to the elder. However, could I request to take the monster core with me?" He knew his place. Without Yunzi's intervention, his chances of slaying the white crystal beast were almost zero. Even if the elder claimed it, he would have no complaints. Yunzi appeared pleased. This alone showed that this young elder of the Green Cloud sect was of good character and not someone greedy and overly ambitious. So he generously smiled and waved. "You can have it." "I don't need it." Jiang Fan was overjoyed. Bowing, he immediately retrieved his black sword, skillfully piercing the abdomen of the white crystal beast. After a few twists, he extracted a snow-white pill pearl the size of a fist. Sure enough, it was a complete core formation realm monster core. The monster core of the core formation realm could not only be used to forge artifacts, but also to refine spirit pills to break through the core formation realm. It was a priceless treasure worth 10,000 crystals. Happily wiping off the blood, he tucked it into his pouch. Seeing this, Xianxia was displeased. She had been scolded while he got all the benefits. "Vice Pavilion Master, I also want to take some materials from the Beast King." Xianxia puffed her cheeks, humming in displeasure. Yunzi chuckled, "Are you short of money?" As the proud daughter of the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, any resource she needed was at her fingertips. Did she really need to sell demon beast materials for money? "I want it." Xianxia stomped her delicate jade foot, pouting angrily. Yunzi, helpless, said, "Go ahead, go ahead. The Beast King of 100 Beasts Mountain seems quite rare. It might be worth something." This Beast King was a rare breed. Those who hadn't specifically researched demon beasts might not recognize its species. Yunzi had merely heard that the Beast Kings of 100 Beasts Mountain had an extraordinary origin. Xianxia, with a sense of competition, approached the 2 halves of the corpse. She also wanted to find some valuable materials, but when she got there, she was at a loss. The enormous demon beast's body had many valuable and valueless parts, but she couldn't tell which was which. She focused on the white hairs, each like steel needles and particularly hard. Her eyes lit up. So hard, they must be good material for making defensive magical artifacts, definitely valuable. So, without further thought, she hurriedly plucked out several white hairs. Jiang Fan was speechless. He had planned to take the wolf hairs himself. But since the white crystal beast was slain by the Vice Pavilion Master Yunzi, and his disciple also wanted a share, he couldn't complain. Fortunately, he had studied the white crystal beast in detail from a book. He knew the white hairs were just one of the valuable materials on it. There were even more valuable parts elsewhere. He approached the head of the white crystal beast. Focusing on its emerald green eyes, he revealed a fervent look. The book noted that the eyes of the white crystal beast were the most valuable part of its body. This pair of eyeballs, with a little refining, became naturally high-grade magical artifacts. Gale pearls. Wearing them, one would feel the wind always at their back, enabling them to leap 10 zhang in a single step. If combined with solitary wild goose shadow, even at its peak, the white crystal beast wouldn't outrun Jiang Fan. He immediately gouged out the 2 eyeballs. Infusing them with spiritual power, a black whirlwind instantly enveloped him, just like when the white crystal beast launched Death Shadow. With a light step, he leaped Tianxiang away in an instant. Anyone who didn't know better would think it was the legendary immortal technique, shrinking land into inches. Yunzi, who had remained composed with his hands inside his sleeves, was startled by the sudden instantaneous movement. He couldn't help but exclaim, "What cultivation technique is this?" With his keen eyes, he quickly discerned that it wasn't actual instantaneous movement nor shrinking land into inches. Rather, Jiang Fan's speed was so extreme it was almost imperceptible. But soon, he noticed the 2 emerald-green eyeballs in Jiang Fan's hands. After thinking for a moment, his old eyes widened. Gale pearls. Those highly sought-after gale pearls. Looking again at the body of the white crystal beast, he exclaimed, "Is this a white crystal beast? It possesses the bloodline of the demon emperor, one of the most valuable demon beasts. Even a chunk of its flesh was worth a fortune. Those 2 eyeballs were priceless treasures. The last time they appeared 10 years ago, they sold for a sky-high price of 10,000 crystals. Even as a vice pavilion master of the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, such an astounding treasure was hard not to covet." Watching Jiang Fan happily pocket the 2 eyeballs, he hurriedly raised his hand to stop him. But realizing it was he who had given the demon beast to Jiang Fan, he reluctantly withdrew his hand. Helplessly watching Jiang Fan tuck the gale pearls into his bosom, he felt pain as if wanting to gouge out his old eyes. How could he have misjudged the value of this beast king? However, there were still several valuable parts on the white crystal beast. He couldn't break his promise and pick them himself, but he could let Nangong Xiaoyan do it. Seeing Nangong Xiaoyan still plucking wolf fur with great relish, Yunzi's mouth twitched. "People have already taken the most valuable parts, and you are still plucking fur. Xiaoyan, the meat of the white crystal beast contains a lot of spiritual power from years of consuming spirit beasts. It's a rare top-tier ingredient." Nangong Xiaoyan was taken aback. Was what she had in her hand worth nothing? "You should have said so earlier," she grumbled, pulling out her dagger. But looking at the huge corpse, she didn't know where to start. This beast king was full of meat from head to toe. There didn't seem to be a need to fight over it, right? Yunzi was just about to give her a hint when he noticed Jiang Fan jump onto the back of the white crystal beast with his black sword. He pried open the broken spine and dug out a particularly red, tender-looking strip of meat hidden beneath the bones. It was extremely dense and elastic. The spiritual power it contained far exceeded that of ordinary meat. Jiang Fan took out a bag and put it inside. This was one of the most valuable parts of the white crystal beast. The essence meat. As the name suggests, it's the most refined part of the whole body. This piece alone contained more spiritual power than all the other meat combined. Nangong Xiaoyan was still searching and asked, "Vice Pavilion Master, where should I dig?" Yunzi replied irritably, "There's no need to dig anymore." At this moment, he noticed where Nangong Xiaoyan was standing and recalled, "I remember that the beast whip of the white crystal beast is very powerful. Some martial artists have offered tens of thousands of crystal stones for it but couldn't get it. Cut it off quickly." Nangong Xiaoyan was perplexed. "Beast whip, what's that?" Yunzi's old face turned slightly red. Teaching a young girl about a beast whip felt a bit improper. But thinking that if he didn't get it soon, all the good stuff on the white crystal beast would be taken by that rascal, he decisively pointed to the end of the white crystal beast's abdomen. Nangong Xiaoyan looked in the direction he pointed. Her delicate pink face instantly turned red, and she quickly looked away, not daring to look anymore, muttering, "I'm not doing it. Whoever wants it can cut it themselves." Jiang Fan had already noticed the beast whip. It was something men dream about. It was loved by many powerful but aging martial artists. Unfortunately, it was hard to come by. Initially, hearing Yunzi's hint, Jiang Fan gave up. Unexpectedly, Nangong Xiaoyan couldn't bring herself to cut it. What more could he say? He decisively ran over, cut it off with a knife, and happily put it into his bag. Seeing this, Yunzi was exasperated. If it weren't for his status, he would have taken action himself. He angrily said, "Xiaoyan, take out the beast king's stomach. It not only eats spirit beasts, but also often devours heavenly materials and earthly treasures from the mountains, with many valuable essences sedimented inside. Its value is no less than that essence meat. Anyway, they should at least get one thing right." Jiang Fan also knew that the white crystal beast's stomach was valuable. However, he had already gotten so much, he should be content, so he left it for the others. Nangong Xiaoyan shrank her neck. She knew that if she didn't get some valuable materials, Yunzi would be angry. But when she cut off the huge stomach, what fell out was a pile of stinky contents taller than her. She immediately backed away. "Vice Pavilion Master, I can't accept this." Holding her nose, she pitifully said, "Is there any other valuable part? I will get it." Yunzi waved his hand. "You go back to plucking fur." He was tired. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up and he wrote, "Miss Nangong, do you really not want this stomach?" Nangong Xiaoyan glared at him fiercely. "It's all yours, you rude boy." Jiang Fan was overjoyed. He hurriedly dragged the huge stomach to a nearby lake. He dumped out all the contents, then cleaned it thoroughly, obtaining a priceless stomach. The white crystal beast's stomach was a high-grade medicinal material. A Foundation Establishment Realm 1 was worth a fortune, let alone a Core Formation Realm 1. Jiang Fan had no doubt if he sold it to Wen Hongyao, she would treat him like a living bodhisattva. He happily folded up the huge stomach sack. Just then he discovered something hard inside the stomach. "Didn't wash it clean?" Jiang Fan's face darkened. Opening the stomach sack, he was surprised. "Huh. What's this?" He saw a palm-sized iron scroll embedded in the stomach wall. Taking it out, he found strange characters engraved on it. Yunzi also sensed something unusual and came over to look, revealing a look of wonder. "Pill Book Silver Scroll. It's actually a Pill Book Silver Scroll. This scroll records the secrets of the Demon Emperor Secret Realm. In the Demon Emperor Secret Realm, the opportunities are extraordinary. It is said that a demon king entering it might have the chance to break through to the Demon Emperor Realm. If a human core formation martial artist enters, there is a chance to break through and become a nascent soul stage expert." This beast king had a scroll like this hidden in its body. Yunzi showed a look of fervent desire, as someone at the late stage of core formation. The nascent soul stage was his lifelong pursuit. The Demon Emperor Secret Realm was undoubtedly one pathway. But upon seeing the characters more clearly, he quickly calmed down and sighed. "Unfortunately, the characters are in the language of the demon race. Only the descendants of the Demon Emperor's bloodline can decipher them. You have gained a great fortune, but it's a useless fortune." By the end, he was smiling. There was a hint of schadenfreude in his expression. Jiang Fan, however, felt a stir in his heart. The little spirit beast he raised was just a descendant of a demon emperor, or perhaps an even higher existence. Wouldn't it be able to recognize it? He quietly put away the Pill Book Silver Scroll, preventing Yunzi from noticing anything. Picking up his pen, he wrote, "Thank you, Elder, for your generous gift. I have gained a lot today." Yunzi's smile disappeared. He just realized that Jiang Fan had taken all the valuable parts from the white crystal beast. Damn brat. Wearing a long face, he jumped onto a flying beast and said, "Xiaoyan, let's go." Nangong Xiaoyan's hands were sore from plucking fur. She glared irritably at Jiang Fan and left with Yunzi. Jiang Fan touched his nose and muttered, "Vice Pavilion Master, why did you suddenly stop smiling?" "Is it because you don't like to smile?" Shortly after, he returned to Cloud Sun City. Just as he arrived at the Ding family's gate, he heard Chen Silin's tearful plea. "Senior Brother Ding, please send someone to save Jiang Fan. He was alone in luring away the Beast King to protect Cloud Sun City." Ding Wanping's curled lips showed his inner joy. Jiang Fan's death not only meant he was the top hunter in Cloud Sun City, it also meant this annoying pest had finally paid the price. Looking at the pleading Chen Silin, his grin widened. "Junior sister, you're overthinking it." Jiang Fan just panicked and ran heedlessly. "I didn't even blame him for bringing the Beast King and destroying Cloud Sun City. Why would I send someone to save him? Besides, do you think he could still be alive? He's probably already in the Beast King's stomach. Maybe he's already been excreted, ha-ha-ha." Hearing this, Chen Silin cried even more, overwhelmed with grief. At the same time, she glared at Ding Wanping with hatred. "You're only happy now. If Jiang Fan were alive, you wouldn't even be fit to carry his shoes." This stung Ding Wanping. He angrily raised his hand and slapped Chen Silin hard, snarling, "You wretched girl, even in death you defend Jiang Fan. If you have the guts, bring him back to challenge me." Bam! At that moment, the door was suddenly kicked open. At the same time, a black light flashed. Jiang Fan appeared in front of Ding Wanping as if shrinking land into inches. Before Ding Wanping's palm could land, Jiang Fan slapped Ding Wanping across the face. Having trained in the Iron Blood True Scripture, his physique was far stronger than an ordinary person's. The power of a slap fueled by anger was unimaginable. A loud slap echoed throughout Ding Mansion. Immediately after, Ding Wanping spun 3 times in place. A bloody handprint quickly swelled up on his face. His head was spinning. He seemed to not even understand what had happened. When he saw Jiang Fan's figure in front of him, it was as if he had seen a ghost. "Ah, Jiang Fan, you're not dead." Smack. Jiang Fan's response was another slap. This slap caused blood to spurt from Ding Wanping's mouth and nose. "Touch my woman, you're asking for death." Jiang Fan kicked him in the abdomen in anger, flipping him to the ground. Only then did Chen Silin come back to her senses. Overjoyed, she threw herself into Jiang Fan's arms, clinging tightly to his neck and burying her whole body in his chest, sobbing. "I thought you were dead. Boo-hoo." Jiang Fan wiped away her tears with his finger, smiling. "That Beast King couldn't kill me." With the purple sword in hand, the Beast King could only run away. "Silly girl, aren't you usually clever? How could you be so foolish as to seek help from Ding Wanping?" After comforting her for a while, he also gently scolded. There was no need to elaborate on Ding Wanping's character. What he wanted to do to Chen Silin was far more than just a slap. It was hard to guarantee he wouldn't lay hands on her or even force her. Having become the Ding family young master, his arrogance reached the heavens. With tears in her eyes, Chen Silin said bitterly, "I was desperate. If you were dead, I would have nothing left." Unconsciously, Jiang Fan had become her entire world. If Jiang Fan died, she would no longer have any expectations for this world. Upon hearing these words, Jiang Fan felt his heart soften and embraced her waist, comforting her quietly. Meanwhile, Ding Wanping, whose cheeks were swollen from the slaps, was finally awakened by the burning pain. Furious and shocked, he got up and roared, "Jiang Fan, how dare you attack me and the Ding family? I am the Ding family young master, personally appointed by Master Qin. How dare you attack me?" "Huh," Jiang Fan released Chen Silin, turning his gaze to Ding Wanping, his eyes cold. "Haven't you always wanted to spar with me? Since no one is around, do you dare to try?" Ding Wanping had long wanted to severely teach Jiang Fan a lesson. Upon hearing Jiang Fan initiate the challenge, he laughed angrily. "You dog, slapping me twice and wanting to end the conflict with a sparring match. You're dreaming. I'm going to kill you," with a clang. He drew a black long sword and charged at Jiang Fan in a rage. "You dog, I'm going to kill you." The black long sword glowed with spirit light. It brought a fierce sword chi as it slashed towards Jiang Fan's head. He was indeed too arrogant, to the point of openly attempting to kill a fellow disciple. Jiang Fan's eyes grew colder. "All the better." He decisively drew his black sword. "Splitting light sword?" Sword chi like thunder burst forth from the sword, transforming into a shocking thunderclap. The enormous explosion instantly blasted Ding Wanping, sword and all, flying into a wall. Crack, the wall cracked with dense web-like fissures. He slid down the wall, spitting a mouthful of thick blood mist. His eyes were wide with astonishment. He couldn't believe it. This trash he had never paid attention to had actually injured him with one sword strike. Clearly, he was at the 6th layer of foundation establishment, while Jiang Fan was only at the 4th layer. But in combat, he had been utterly defeated. How was this possible? He refused to accept it. Even if he died, he wouldn't accept it. "Again?" Ding Wanping climbed up, swinging his sword and shouting. This time, Jiang Fan couldn't even be bothered to use his sword. He sent a wandering dragon palm through the air. Bang! Ah! With a scream, a blood arrow shot from Ding Wanping's mouth as he flew backward. This time he only stopped after crashing into a thick osmanthus tree. Cough, cough, he coughed violently, spitting out threads of fresh blood. His eyes wide, full of disbelief. He was actually inferior even to Jiang Fan without a weapon. This was something he could not accept. Just then, Ding Zhuhui and several powerful members of the Ding family, sensing the commotion, hurriedly approached. When they discovered Jiang Fan had returned alive, they all showed surprise. He actually survived the Beast King's pursuit and came back. Unbelievable. How could he survive that? Did the Beast King show him immense mercy and let him go? But soon they noticed Ding Wanping's miserable condition. Ding Zhuhui was stunned. "Wanping, are you all right?" Ding Wanping was Master Qin's chosen young master. If something happened to him, how could the Ding family explain it to Master Qin? Ding Wanping, in a sorry state, lashed out at them for arriving late, shouting, "What were you doing, just getting here now? I want to see Master Qin. Go and invite him here. Let him see how the Ding family neglects me." Ding Zhuhui was scolded horribly. As the head of the Ding family, this was a great humiliation for him, making him incredibly angry. But with Master Qin's favor, Ding Zhuhui could only swallow his anger and persuade respectfully. "Wanping, let me handle this for you. There's no need to disturb Master Qin." But Ding Wanping continued to shout, "Stop your nonsense. I told you to invite him, so go invite him now. If you anger me, I'll complain to Master Qin, making sure the Ding family never gets his support again." At this, Not only was Ding Zhuhui furious, but Ding Tianxiang and the Ding family elders were all enraged. This arrogant brat, with Master Qin's backing, he was completely out of control. Ding Zhuhui's jaw muscles twitched. He wished he could slap Ding Wanping to death. Suppressing his anger, he instructed an elder, "Go invite Master Qin." Watching the elder run off quickly, Ding Wanping felt triumphant. Because of his illegitimate birth, the elders had always treated him indifferently, paying him no mind. Now, with just one word, these proud elders had to behave like lackeys, eagerly doing his bidding. Though he was the young master, his words carried more weight than the heads. This gave Ding Wanping immense satisfaction. Thus, when he looked at Jiang Fan, he once again seemed superior. "Dog, do you see this? Do you understand what identity means, what status means, what power means? This is it. You think knowing some shady tricks allows you to challenge me, Ding Wanping? You don't deserve it." At that moment, he was arrogant, overbearing, and unstoppable, as if he had become the ruler of Cloud Sun City, dominating everything. Jiang Fan's face remained indifferent. He recalled an ancient saying, "Heaven's sin can be forgiven, self-inflicted sin cannot." Ding Wanping's arrogance would completely ruin him. "What? So scared you don't dare make a sound? Ha ha ha." Seeing Jiang Fan's silence, Ding Wanping laughed wildly. Jiang Fan calmly said, "The last act of madness." He could almost foresee it. After Qin Wenyuan arrived, what kind of scene it would be, and in the end, what kind of fate awaited Ding Wanping. "Only with strength can you be called crazy." Ding Wanping sneered coldly. "Without strength, you're just insane." Chen Silin furrowed her brow in disgust. From the first glance, she disliked Ding Wanping. Now she disliked him even more. No great ability, but an ego higher than the sky. She said expressionlessly, "Senior brother Ding, as fellow disciples of the same peak, I advise you to stop being so arrogant. Otherwise, it will truly be as my husband said and become your last moment of madness." Why would Qin Wenyuan favor Ding Wanping? Her mind was as clear as a crystal. She already figured out the connections. Qin Wenyuan probably also knew Jiang Fan's identity as a soul master and misunderstood Jiang Fan and Ding Wanping's relationship. He wanted to do Jiang Fan a favor. When the truth was revealed, Ding Wanping's position as young master would be impossible to maintain. Tyranny flickered in Ding Wanping's eyes. It was one thing for Jiang Fan to say this, but even Chen Silin said it. He was so powerful, so authoritative, so commanding in all directions, yet Chen Silin still looked down on him. This was intolerable. "Chen Silin, enough. How am I worse than Jiang Fan?" Ding Wanping roared. "He only knows a bit of the evil technique and happened to win against me by luck. In terms of status, I am the young master of the Ding family. What is he? How can he even compare to me?" Hearing the words, Ding family young master, she only felt it was ironic. Stubborn and unrepentant. Even though she advised him kindly, the other party showed no restraint. So she slightly lowered her enchanting eyes, remaining silent, unwilling to waste another word on him. This attitude of ignoring him further stimulated Ding Wanping's pride, making him furious. "Fine, fine, fine. You look down on me?" Fury rose from Ding Wanping's heart. Malice sprouted to his courage. Suddenly, he glared at Jiang Fan, saying grimly, "Then I'll show you how I, Ding Wanping, will deal with your beloved fiancé." Chen Silin's face changed drastically, exclaimed, "What do you intend to do?" "I'm warning you, don't act rashly." Ding Wanping sneered, "What will I do? Of course, I'll keep him in the Ding family to be fertilizer for the flowers and plants." "What?" Not only was Chen Silin shocked, even the members of the Ding family were stunned. Ding Zhuhui hurriedly said, "Wanping, don't speak recklessly. Kill a disciple of the Green Cloud sect, and a disciple of the sect master at that. How is that different from rebellion? If this were to be discovered, the Ding family would face the disaster of extermination." Ding Wanping snorted, "With Master Qin here, what is there to be afraid of? He's just a worthless disciple. Killing him, so what?" Ding Tianxiang felt he was wild enough. But looking at Ding Wanping now, he realized he had been too compliant. No matter how wild he was, he never dared to disregard the Green Cloud sect. So he also advised kindly, "Wanping, listen to your brother's words. You two have grudges. Whatever way you find to settle it privately is fine. As long as no one dies, it's no big problem. But killing him, and right within our Ding family, that will bring huge trouble." It would have been better if he hadn't spoken. The moment he did, Ding Wanping mocked, "Oh, isn't this the deposed young master of the Ding family? Who do you think you are to advise me? Why don't you take a good look at yourself?" He had been oppressed by Ding Tianxiang for too long. Now unleashed, he publicly humiliated Ding Tianxiang. The latter's face turned red with anger. "Ding Wanping, don't get too arrogant." Smack. The response was Ding Wanping slapping him hard across the face. "It's you who's arrogant. Who do you think you are, daring to speak to me like this?" Ding Tianxiang was so furious his lungs felt like they would explode. His fists clenched, spiritual power surged within him, his teeth gnashing together. Unable to stop himself from striking back, at this moment, a servant came to report. "Family head Master Qin has arrived at the residence." Hearing this, Ding Zhuhui quickly held Ding Tianxiang down, whispering, "Tianxiang, hold back. Think of the bigger picture, think of the bigger picture." If Qin Wenyuan saw Ding Tianxiang bullying Ding Wanping, it would all be over. "Damn it!" Ding Tianxiang stomped the ground, creating a crack, forced to swallow his anger. But the humiliation and rage in his heart churned, unable to dissipate for a long time. Seeing Ding Tianxiang, who used to lord over him, get slapped but not dare to speak up, Ding Wanping felt unprecedentedly delighted. He glanced around at the other family members. "Anyone else wants to advise me? Step forward." Several elder family members, initially intending to advise Ding Wanping with their seniority, shut their mouths at this scene. At their age, they didn't want to be publicly humiliated with a slap. The whole place was silent. Ding Wanping coldly stared at Jiang Fan. "See, no one is advising me anymore." "So, Jiang Fan, are your last words ready?" Jiang Fan sighed, looking at him with pity. Ding Wanping's recent actions had offended the entire Ding family. He burned his last retreat completely. "Do you think they would dare to touch me?" Jiang Fan gazed at him expressionlessly. Not daring to advise was one thing. Daring to harm Jiang Fan was another. They weren't as mad as Ding Wanping. Ding Wanping snorted, "Who would dare disobey my words?" He glared at Ding Zhuhui. "You bring me Jiang Fan's head." Ding Zhuhui's mouth twitched. This was utterly chaotic, but he wouldn't sacrifice the entire Ding family to satisfy Ding Wanping's temporary joy. He smiled awkwardly, clutching his chest. "Wanping, I was injured by the Beast King earlier. I can't fight." Of course, the order was ignored. Ding Wanping felt his face was swept, glaring at Ding Tianxiang. "Ding Tianxiang, you go. If you don't kill Jiang Fan, I'll expel you from the Ding family." Murderous intent surged in Ding Tianxiang's eyes. Not directed at Jiang Fan, but at Ding Wanping. He dared to threaten him. Suppressing his intent to kill, he darkened his face, saying, "Jiang Fan is fast. If he runs, I can't catch him." This was indeed true. Just earlier, when Jiang Fan had repeatedly slain several Foundation Establishment Realm demon beasts, he exhibited an extraordinary speed. Using this as an excuse was perfect. Ding Wanping, unable to command anyone, felt humiliated and in fury. "You scoundrels! Do you treat my words as wind in the ear?" Smack. He slapped Ding Tianxiang hard, making him stagger. Humiliation upon humiliation made Ding Tianxiang lose it. "Ding Wanping, you bastard!" Ding Tianxiang, normally domineering and unruly. How could he endure such humiliation? This moment he couldn't bear it anymore. Without care, he lifted his hand towards Ding Wanping. Just then, the sound of hurried footsteps approached. Qin Wenyuan came rushing over, seeing this scene from afar. Instantly he became furious. "How dare you?" Ding Tianxiang daring to treat Ding Wanping like this. And in Jiang Fan's presence, wasn't this an insult to Jiang Fan? The Ding family was simply courting death. Ding Tianxiang's body trembled. The spiritual power that he was about to unleash was suddenly withdrawn, and his mind became instantly clear. Ding Zhuhui and the elders' faces changed drastically. The very thing they feared had come, and it was the worst possible situation. Ding Zhuhui hurriedly stepped forward, trying to quell Qin Wenyuan's anger, and said, "Master Qin, it was just a scuffle between the younger generation. Please don't misunderstand." After speaking, he cast a pleading look at Ding Wanping. Pleading for Ding Wanping to let the matter go and not escalate things. But how could Ding Wanping be willing? He loudly retorted, "It was not just a scuffle. Ding Tianxiang wanted my life. He and the Ding family do not respect me at all. Nor do they have any respect for you, Master Qin. Wanted your life." Qin Wenyuan shivered involuntarily. Not respecting him was one thing. Not respecting Jiang Fan, however, was a monumental issue. A trace of anger appeared on his old face, and he coldly snorted. "Family head Ding, could it be that you despise old me for being new to Cloud Sun City without a foundation and do not wish to cooperate anymore? If that is the case, family head Ding, you might as well say it plainly. There is no need to beat around the bush to remind me." Ding Zhuhui's forehead was almost sweating in anxiety. The matter had indeed affected their cooperation. The Ding family elders' expressions changed repeatedly. Just one sentence from Ding Wanping and their cooperation was about to fall apart. Ding Wanping's importance in Master Qin's mind was even higher than expected. Ding Tianxiang's limbs also turned cold, deeply regretting his earlier rashness. In a moment of impulse, he had stirred up such a huge problem. Gritting his teeth, he walked up to Ding Wanping, bowed his head, and endured great humiliation as he said, "I'm sorry, Wanping. I shouldn't have acted impulsively, nor should I have attacked you. Please forgive me for the sake of our shared family ties." As the pride of the Ding family, as the prodigy of Cloud Sun City, as the peerless genius overlooking the entire Green Cloud sect, at this moment, Ding Tianxiang almost had no dignity left. However, Ding Wanping was still not satisfied. He bared his teeth in a cold smile and said, "Is just an apology enough? Do you know the punishment for being disrespectful to your superiors? Kneel before me? Kneel." Ding Tianxiang's eyes widened, and the humiliation in his heart reached its peak. A demon-level prodigy of the heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, kneeling to someone? This was unacceptable to him. But seeing Qin Wenyuan's increasingly cold face and the anxious family members, he gritted his teeth, heavily knelt on the ground, loudly saying, "I was wrong. Please forgive me." The surroundings fell into dead silence. The Ding family's members could not bear to look at each other and averted their eyes. The anger in their hearts, however, was like a volcano, simmering and shaking their chests. No matter how wrong Ding Tianxiang was, he was still a member of the Ding family. How could his dignity be so trampled upon? Did Ding Wanping even consider himself a member of the Ding family? Although the Ding family did not value Ding Wanping much, they never treated him unfairly. Without the Ding family's nurturing from a young age, would he have had the opportunity to be recruited by the Green Cloud sect? How could he repay their kindness with such betrayal, treating the Ding family this way? Seeing Ding Tianxiang kneeling, Ding Wanping finally felt relieved, snorting through his nose. "This is more like it. Kneel there and reflect properly." Then he smiled and cupped his hands towards Master Qin, saying, "Thank you, Master Qin, for supporting me." Qin Wenyuan nodded slightly, without saying much. Since the matter ended with Ding Tianxiang's kneeling apology, there was no need to cause further trouble. After all, the cooperation with the Ding family needed to continue. He patted Ding Wanping's shoulder, preparing to leave. "If you need anything in the future, come find me anytime." These words sent a shiver through the Ding family's members. This was a clear warning to the entire Ding family. It meant that Ding Wanping was under his protection. If he had any issues, he could always bring Qin Wenyuan to his aid. Ding Wanping was overjoyed. With a cold smile, he glanced around at the Ding family members, taking advantage of Qin Wenyuan's presence to intimidate them into complete submission. "Master Qin, please wait a moment. There's one more matter I need to deal with, but the family members are not obedient. Please, Master Qin, make a decision for me." Oh, Qin Wenyuan's recently improved complexion darkened again. What was going on with the Ding family? Did he really have to say clearly that Jiang Fan was a high-grade great soul master? Ding Wanping being able to become friends with him meant the Ding family had secured a significant support. The Ding family did not properly treat Ding Wanping, repeatedly mistreating him. It was simply ungrateful. Thus he snorted angrily, "What is it, tell me? I really want to see what the Ding family intends to do." If push came to shove, he would have to speak to the Ding family members, to prevent them from making further mistakes. With Qin Wenyuan's statement, Ding Wanping felt even more at ease. Coldly he snorted, "There is someone who stole my woman and repeatedly humiliated me. Just now he even slapped me. I just wanted to reason with him, but guess what? He injured me with some sinister cultivation technique." What? Qin Wenyuan was shocked. Who dared to be so arrogant, bullying Ding Wanping and the Ding family? Slapping him was one thing, but injuring him. If anything happened to him, the bond between him and Jiang Fan would be severed. He secretly rejoiced that he had stayed to handle the situation. Otherwise, Ding Wanping would have suffered such a great grievance, and he would have been kept in the dark. He flew into a rage, shouting, "Are all the Ding family members dead? No one protected you?" Ding Wanping showed a look of grievance and said resentfully, "They did more than not protect me. I told them to kill this person. But from the family head down to the family members, they all spoke up for him. Ding Tianxiang even turned the tables and helped the other side to kill me." Bam! Qin Wenyuan was so angry his lungs exploded. He slammed his palm on a stone table. In an instant, the stone table shattered into pieces. He roared at the Ding family members, "This is outrageous. The person I, Qin Wenyuan, want to cultivate with care, is this how you treat them?" The Ding family's members, listening to the reversed accusations, trembled with rage. Ding Zhuhui quickly explained, Master Qin, it's not that we are siding with the other party. But the other party's identity is extraordinary. We dare not act. HMPH. Qin Wenyuan was even more furious. Even at this point, they were still shielding the other party. What identity could be more significant than being a friend of Jiang Fan? Speak. Who is the other party? I want to see who he is. Ding Zhuhui hesitated. With a pleading look, he said, Master Qin, let's drop the matter here. We cannot continue to stir up trouble. How could he let Jiang Fan die in the Ding family? If that happened, Qin Wenyuan might walk away, leaving the Ding family to bear the wrath of the Green Cloud sect. Speak. Qin Wenyuan's hair stood on end with rage. The more the Ding family covered up, the more he wanted to see who the other party was. At this moment, a voice that made even Qin Wenyuan's soul tremble lightly drifted in. It was me. Master Qin, what do you need? That voice, Qin Wenyuan's neck stiffly turned, his old eyes incredulously staring at Jiang Fan. He was bewildered. Could there be a mistake? The person Ding Wanping wanted to kill was Jiang Fan. While he was caught in confusion, Ding Wanping also opened his mouth with a face full of venom. Master Qin, it's this worthless wretch. If he doesn't die, I won't have peace day and night. It really was Jiang Fan. But wasn't Ding Wanping Jiang Fan's friend? It was precisely because of this relationship that he had supported Ding Wanping. Now, how had they become mortal enemies? Immediately after, Jiang Fan's words completely unraveled the truth. Master Qin, could you have misunderstood something? Ding Wanping has been harassing my wife since the days at the Green Cloud sect and has opposed me several times. When he arrived at the Qin family, he spoke venomously and wanted to take action against me. What? Qin Wenyuan's eyes widened in shock. They weren't friends at all. Their relationship had always been bad. He had completely misunderstood their relationship under the guidance of Ding Zhuhui and had fully supported Ding Wanping. What have I been doing? Supporting Jiang Fan's opponent? At this moment, he felt like slapping himself to death. Everyone else eagerly seeks to gain favor, but I hit my own fatal weakness. And yet Ding Wanping still continued with his incessant, smug sneering. Jiang Fan, afraid now? Do you know what kind of existence you've provoked? I'll tell you, with Master Qin backing me, if you leave here alive today, I'll write my name backwards. However, as soon as he finished speaking, a fierce slap struck his face hard. A thunderous roar closely followed by his ear. I'll back you, you son of a bitch! The normally composed Qin Wenyuan couldn't help but curse out loud, berating him angrily. This slap stunned everyone present. The Ding family members were dumbfounded. What was going on? Wasn't Qin Wenyuan supporting Ding Wanping? Ding Wanping was stupefied as well. Clutching his burning cheek, he looked at the furious face in front of him, wondering if he was hallucinating. He stammered, Master Qin, why are you hitting me? You ought to be hitting that damn Jiang Fan. Still insulting Jiang Fan, Qin Wenyuan could not bear it and slapped him hard on the face again. You wretch. I'm hitting you, you wretch. He couldn't believe he had supported this wretch, who even used him to try to kill Jiang Fan. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. The angrier he got, the more he thought about it. This vicious cycle made him utterly furious. Despite his old bones, he punched and kicked Ding Wanping. He only stopped when his fists trembled, his breath came in gasps, and he had no strength left to continue. But the anger in his heart still wasn't vented. Pointing at Ding Wanping's nose, he roared, I must have been blind to recommend you as the Ding family young master. What are you even worth? Then, in a rage, he turned to Ding Zhuhui and scolded. The Ding family raised such a heartless, rebellious wretch. And you expect me to cooperate with you. From now on, I sever all relations with the Ding family. We'll never have any dealings again. These words were naturally also meant for Jiang Fan, intended to show Jiang Fan that he was severing ties with Ding Wanping. After speaking, he flung his sleeves angrily and left. Causing such a blunder, he had no face to stay in front of Jiang Fan anymore. Ding Wanping was in a daze for a long while before he suddenly reacted. Had he been abandoned by Master Qin, that meant he had no backing. He panicked internally, hurriedly crawling on his knees and hugging Qin Wenyuan's leg. Master Qin, I was wrong, I was wrong. Please don't abandon me, I will do anything you say, I'll be your son, your grandson. Just don't abandon me. Scram. All he got in response was Qin Wenyuan's merciless, angry snort, and a kick that sent him flying. Then Qin Wenyuan disappeared at the entrance of the courtyard. Ding Wanping was flustered. For a moment he was at a loss, his mind blank. He couldn't understand at all what had happened. One moment Master Qin was protecting him. The next he exploded in rage and abandoned him. The turnaround was too sudden, until a cold, bone-chilling voice woke him up. Still kneeling on the ground, Ding Tianxiang had a cold smile on his face, and he said sinisterly, Young Master Ding, how much longer do I have to kneel? Ding Wanping's heart skipped a beat. Remembering his previous arrogance, his heart trembled, and he hurriedly helped Ding Tianxiang up. His lips quivered. Be big brother, you are the Ding family young master, I'm just an illegitimate child. Killing intent rolled in Ding Tianxiang's eyes, and he patted Ding Wanping's face, hissing through his teeth. No, 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 you being the Ding family young master is 100, no, 1,000 times more glorious than me. The Ding family members gradually came to their senses. Their gazes toward Ding Wanping turned hostile. Ding Zhuhui's voice was low, like the storm before the rain, pressing on everyone's heart. Even Master Qin couldn't tolerate your despicable character and kicked you away. He was right. How did our Ding family raise something lower than a pig or dog like you? Thinking of Ding Wanping's lawless behavior. A thread of killing intent rolled in his eyes. He raised his gaze, looking at Jiang Fan and Chen Silin, and cupped his hands slightly. You two, please return to the Green Cloud sect to report. Ding Wanping won't be accompanying you. Please inform your sect that Ding Wanping won't be returning to the sect. No need to guess what would happen next. Jiang Fan nodded and turned to leave. Chen Silin's eyes showed a hint of reluctance, but thinking of Ding Wanping's past madness, any sympathy she had dispersed. Both Jiang Fan and she had given Ding Wanping chances. He kept bringing about his own demise. And equally sensing impending doom, Ding Wanping was scared out of his mind. He dropped to his knees in front of Jiang Fan and Chen Silin, crying out, Junior brother Jiang, junior sister Chen, you can't leave, please take me back to the sect with you. I can't stay, I will die, I will die. Smack, Ding Zhuhui ruthlessly stomped on the back of his head, slamming it into the ground, knocking him out. Then he looked at Jiang Fan expressionlessly. The Ding family needs to handle internal affairs now. You too, please proceed. Jiang Fan said nothing further and left Ding Mansion with Chen Silin. Soon after they left, terrifying screams resonated from within the mansion, causing their hearts to tremble. It seemed that Ding Wanping would find it hard to even seek death now. A fate worse than death awaited him. The two rode a flying beast, flying over one of the three major martial path families, the Lin family. After some thought, Jiang Fan cut off half a block of essence meat and threw it down. Soon after, an elderly, joyous voice erupted from within the Lin family. Essence meat from the Beast King. It's actually essence meat of the Beast King. I have hope of achieving 9th layer of Foundation Establishment Realm Perfection. Meanwhile, Qin Wenyuan, once more forced to relocate his entire family, wore a gloomy expression. Qin Changsheng beside him, face drooping, asked, Old man, where are we going now? Qin Wenyuan's mouth twitched as he said, As far away as possible. I refuse to believe I will run into Master Jiang again. Days later. Green Cloud Sect, the team sent to various towns, had long since returned. Jiang Fan and Chen Silin were the last two. Seeing him return, the crowd gathered in the plaza stirred. Huh. Weren't those disciples who returned from Cloud Sun City saying that Jiang Fan was being chased by the Beast King? I thought he was dead. Incredible luck to survive that and come back alive. In the crowd, Su Yining's ears twitched, and she sharply raised her pretty eyes to look at Jiang Fan. Seeing he was still alive, the dullness in her eyes immediately brightened. But when she noticed Chen Silin cuddled beside him, her gaze turned complex, and she said in a sarcastic tone, How many demons did you kill for it to take you this long to return? Jiang Fan was speechless. How did he offend her again? Even after joining the Green Cloud sect, she still had the temperament of a spoiled young lady. Not bad, Jiang Fan said offhandedly. He didn't know how many demon beasts the other teams had hunted, nor their level. Therefore, he was unsure whether his own achievements were good or bad compared to theirs. Sensing Jiang Fan's lack of confidence, Su Yining secretly breathed a sigh of relief. She had been genuinely worried that Jiang Fan would get lucky and kill more demon beasts than Tang Tianlong. If that happened, she'd be overshadowed by Chen Silin. Really? Su Yining showed a hint of pride. We did all right too. We killed 5 demon beasts in Lonely Boat City. Among them, 4 were at the Foundation Establishment Realm, 1 at the Qi Cultivation Realm. According to the rules, that can be exchanged for 41 merit points. Upon hearing this, the surrounding disciples cast envious glances. As expected of Tang Tianlong, he probably killed all the demon beasts attacking Lonely Boat City by himself. Naturally, other team members would need to be strong enough to compete for the kills. 41 merit points, undoubtedly the top achievement of this operation. According to the rule of 1 merit point equaling an hour of cultivation time in the Holy Hall, Tang Tianlong can cultivate for 3 or 4 days. With the resources in the Holy Hall, his foundation establishment realm at the 8th layer will definitely advance further. Jiang Fan had a strange look on his face. 41 merit points, the first place. Aside from the Beast King, he alone killed 8 Foundation Establishment Realm demon beasts, which would convert into 80 merit points. Were demon beasts really that difficult to kill? Soon, Jiang Fan understood. The demon beasts attacking Cloud Sun City were generally very strong, making it impossible for his teammates to kill them. All they could do was watch Jiang Fan and Ding Wanping fight for them. Whereas in other cities, the attacking demon beasts were relatively weaker, allowing all the disciples to participate. Thus, the achievements were more evenly distributed. Only Jiang Fan and Tang Tianlong stood out significantly. Tang Tianlong approached, a faint smile on his lips. "Yining, I've told you don't compare him to me, it's an insult to me." Su Yining quickly responded, "Sorry, senior brother Tang." Tang Tianlong waved his hand. "I once said, even as my teammate, the benefits surpass those of a useless woman. My word is my bond, I never go back on it. Now it looks like it's coming true." Many beautiful female disciples of outstanding temperament cast envious glances at Su Yining. Su Yining is really lucky to have senior brother Tang helping her. She will also have the chance to train in the Holy Hall this time, and when she comes out, her cultivation will surely advance significantly. I do feel sorry for Chen Silin. Clearly, in terms of figure, looks, and martial talent, she's not inferior to Su Yining. But just because she followed the wrong man, the benefits she receives are worlds apart. The path she walks and the man she chooses are her own decisions. She can't blame anyone else. Knowing Jiang Fan's real achievements, Chen Silin suppressed her frustration. "Questioning my choice of man? I'll soon make your jaws drop. Wait until you see how my man, Jiang Fan, leaves everyone in the dust." Shortly after, Liu Wuchen arrived on a bird. "Everyone's back?" Liu Wuchen quickly scanned the group, and seeing that his disciple Jiang Fan was among them, felt relieved. He was worried Jiang Fan might have died out there. After all, Jiang Fan's cultivation was still low, and he hadn't given him much in terms of resources either. "All right, let's begin tallying the individual achievements. Disciples with gains, step forward one by one and have your results examined and registered by the Deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall." The disciples were eager to step up. The thought of getting a chance to train in the Supreme Elder's Holy Hall excited them all. So, even the disciples who had only killed a single Qi cultivation realm demon beast were enthusiastic about registering. Just as Jiang Fan had analyzed, most of everyone's achievements were quite similar. A few skilled ones had killed 2 Foundation Establishment Realm demon beasts, but the majority had killed either 1 Foundation Establishment Realm beast or just a Qi Cultivation Realm beast. When it was Tang Tianlong's turn to register, the Deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall showed a look of approval. Clearly, his kills of 5 beasts were quite impressive. After him, there were no particularly notable achievements, until Jiang Fan approached with a small bag and placed it before the Deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall. The Deacon habitually opened the bag and casually glanced inside, saying, "1 demon core." Wait, he looked again and was stunned. The bag contained 8 demon cores. Each core was the size of an egg. All were from Foundation Establishment Realm demon beasts. How could this be? He took them out and examined them one by one, confirming that they were indeed demon cores with fresh demon blood still on them. They couldn't have been bought from the market. He couldn't help but stare at Jiang Fan in disbelief. The Deacon's strange behavior piqued everyone's curiosity. Su Yining frowned. "What's up with the Deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall? He looks very strange." Tang Tianlong laughed with his hands behind his back. "It's probably the shock that Jiang Fan actually had any kills." Su Yining understood and shook her head lightly. "Considering his strength, surviving is already a miracle. I didn't expect him to be so lucky and have a kill too. If I were the Deacon, I'd be even more surprised." Not far away, Liu Wuchen also noticed the Deacon's odd behavior. He urged, "What are you hesitating for? Register them quickly and finalize the rankings." He seemed a bit displeased. The Deacon quickly came to his senses. Not daring to delay any longer, he promptly registered Jiang Fan's achievements. Then he crossed out Tang Tianlong's name from the first place and replaced it with Jiang Fan's. He swiftly handed a list over to Liu Wuchen. Without looking at it closely, Liu Wuchen stood up and scanned the 100 disciples. "The fact that you're all back safely is what pleases me most as the sect master. Now I'll announce your achievements. For those who killed Qi Cultivation Realm demon beasts, the following names: For those who killed Foundation Establishment Realm Demon Beasts, the following names. Next, we have the top 10 ranked disciples by achievements. At this, the disciples grew excited. Ranks outside the top 10 were pretty much the same. It was within the top 10 where differences appeared. 10th place Huang Yunkeng, 1 Foundation Establishment Realm Beast, 1 Qi Cultivation Realm Beast. 9th place Zhang Zhaoan, 1 Foundation Establishment Realm Beast, 2 Qi Cultivation Realm Beasts. 8th place Liu Peixiang, 1 Foundation Establishment Realm Beast, 3 Qi Cultivation Realm Beasts. 3rd place Carefree Peak Disciple Yuan Tongshan, 2 Foundation Establishment Realm Beasts, 3 Qi Cultivation Realm Beasts. Carefree Peak performed very well this time, Liu Wuchen praised publicly. He couldn't help but think to himself if their peak had drawn someone other than Jiang Fan this time, they wouldn't be ranking so low. Everyone sat up straight immediately, showing curious expressions. Who is the 2nd place? It seems like apart from Tianxiang, there's no one else with more than Yuan Tongshan's kills. That guy hit it well, having so many kills, yet no one knew. Su Yining also looked curious. Senior brother Tang, who could be the 2nd place? Tang Tianlong, with his hands behind his back, commented. The only one who might have more kills than 2 Foundation Establishment Realm Beasts among the disciples this time would be senior brother Mo Huandao from Mad Blade Peak. He has the cultivation of the 7th layer of Foundation Establishment Realm, almost on par with me. Su Yining showed admiration. Senior brother Mo is indeed formidable. Tang Tianlong smiled proudly. He is quite formidable. But with me around, he could only be 2nd, haha, at this moment. Liu Wuchen glanced at the 2nd place name and was stunned. Frowning, he hesitated before announcing, 2nd place, Tang Tianlong. What? The whole crowd buzzed with astonishment. Everyone looked at each other, faces full of shock. Who is the 2nd place? Tang Tianlong? Could there be a mistake in the ranking? 4 Foundation Establishment Realm Demon Beasts and 1 in Qi Cultivation Realm, isn't this undoubtedly the 1st place? How could he be placed 2nd? Tang Tianlong's smile froze on his face. The unexpected ranking left him bewildered. How could he be ranked 2nd? Could someone have surpassed him? Impossible, right? Su Yining was also stunned. What's going on? How could senior brother Tang be the 2nd place? There must be a mistake, not to mention the disciples. Even the elders beside them showed an incredulous expression. In their eyes, Tang Tianlong's achievements were already very impressive, far beyond their expectations. Yet such a performance was only 2nd place. Tang Tianlong's master, the great elder Feng Guchen, questioned on the spot. Deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall, did you dare to make a mistake with my disciple's results? My disciple is the highest in cultivation among those executing the task this time. How could anyone have more kills than him? Is it possible that your old eyes are dim and you got the ranking wrong? The deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall was startled. How could he dare to offend the great elder? He quickly stood up and bowed, saying, Great elder, I did not make a mistake in the ranking. Indeed, there is a disciple whose harvest is above Tang Tianlong's. What? As soon as he said this, everyone showed a look of shock. There was indeed someone who had a higher harvest than Tang Tianlong. How was this possible? 4 Foundation Establishment Realm Demon Beasts plus 1 Qi Cultivation Realm. Unless a team could have someone like Tang Tianlong, whose strength far surpassed others. Only then could such a huge gap appear. But upon looking around, none of the other teams seemed capable. Tang Tianlong could not accept this blow. He, being the highest in cultivation among the participants, was actually trampled underfoot, falling to 2nd place. To him, this was a disgrace. He raised his voice. Sect Master, who is the 1st place? Please announce it and let me accept it. He wanted to see who it was and how many kills they had, to be able to rank ahead of him. Liu Wuchen came back to his senses. He also once doubted whether the deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall had made a mistake in the ranking. His eyes moved on the ranking list. When they fixed on the 1st place, he was stunned. For the 2nd time, he doubted whether the deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall had made a mistake. 1st place, if it were anyone else he could understand. But how could it be Jiang Fan, his own useless disciple? Looking again at the harvest quantity. 8, all of them Foundation Establishment Realm. Moreover, the deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall had separately marked that all were great demons of late Foundation Establishment stage. How could his useless disciple have killed so many great demons of late Foundation Establishment stage? With his mouth, one by one biting them to death. There had to be a mistake. Definitely a mistake. He stared at the 1st place, unsure if he should read it. Reading a fake ranking would surely cause a storm, right? Feng Guchen, who had been waiting impatiently, showed a slight sinking face. "Sect Master, why haven't you announced it yet? Could it be that the first place is fake?" By now, he couldn't help but suspect that Liu Wuchen was cheating. Seeing that Tang Tianlong could take the first place, bringing glory to Reincarnation Peak, he deliberately suppressed them. The other elders cast curious glances and urged him, "Sect Master, quickly announce it. Let us see which peak this outstanding disciple belongs to." The disciples were also curious. They couldn't figure out who this person could be. Liu Wuchen glanced sideways at Feng Guchen. Did he really think everyone was like the great elder enjoying scheming? However, if he read out Jiang Fan's name, people would hardly believe that he wasn't cheating, right? After a moment of contemplation, he put away the list and said, "The first place, let's not announce it. I will find him separately for a detailed conversation later." As he spoke, he glanced at Jiang Fan with a severe look. Although he didn't know why the deacon of the Reward and Punishment Hall had listed Jiang Fan as the first place. But it must have something to do with Jiang Fan, leaving him almost accused of cheating, ruining his reputation as the sect master. It was time to teach him a good lesson. However, if he didn't announce it, would others agree? Feng Guchen felt even more suspicious and laughed angrily. "Sect Master, I can understand your unwillingness to let Reincarnation Peak surpass Sect Master Peak. But such blatant suppression, isn't it too much?" Tang Tianlong also finally realized that the reason he ranked second was not due to insufficient strength, but because of the conflict between the two peaks. He showed a look of humiliation and unwillingness. "Sect Master, I always thought you were upright, generous, and fair. I admired you greatly. But I didn't expect you to care so much about the competition between the peaks, even suppressing me. If my performance makes you feel uncomfortable, then I will accept the second place." They, master and disciple, played good cop, bad cop, portraying Liu Wuchen as a complete villain. This made Liu Wuchen both angry and upset. He felt like he was being grilled. If he didn't announce it, they would accuse him of suppressing Reincarnation Peak. If he announced it, the cheating accusation would be undeniable, as the disciples murmured in dissatisfaction. Jiang Fan also showed a look of discontent. What on earth was going on? He was the first place, so why not announce it? And arranging for a separate conversation later, didn't that mean his result was invalid? Then his hard work in hunting demon beasts was all for nothing. So he bowed and said, "Master, please announce the results to silence the gossip." Hearing Jiang Fan also urging him, Liu Wuchen was infuriated. "You caused this messy situation, and now you have the nerve to add fuel to the fire." Once announced, Jiang Fan would be a target for everyone's suspicion. Then no matter how sophisticated your cheating method, it would be exposed. The disgrace would be on Jiang Fan himself. "Master, announce it," Jiang Fan urged again. Liu Wuchen was enraged. "Fine. Since you're courting disaster, don't blame your master for not covering for you." Then, without further hesitation, he took out the list again and publicly announced. "First place." The previously buzzing scene fell silent suddenly. Everyone pricked up their ears, eager to know who had been arranged by the sect master to suppress Tang Tianlong. They all speculated on the likely candidate. First, this person definitely couldn't be from Reincarnation Peak. Secondly, the strength had to be reasonable, not much weaker than Tang Tianlong. Otherwise, no one would be convinced. Tang Tianlong folded his arms across his chest, listening with a cold face. No matter who it was, he would not accept it. He intended to personally inspect the other party's harvest and publicly expose their cheating. Trying to take the first place from Tang Tianlong? Dream on. Feng Guchen snorted through his nose, looking around coldly. He also wanted to see which Peak's disciple, so reckless, cooperated with the sect master to suppress Reincarnation Peak. Soon they would be utterly humiliated. Meanwhile, Liu Wuchen took a deep breath, finally announced the name of the first place, Jiang Fan. "Who, Jiang Fan?" The entire place fell into dead silence for a moment. Then it erupted into an uproar far louder than before. "Who is the first place? Jiang Fan? That disciple without a spirit root. He could kill 8 Foundation Establishment Realm demon beasts. That's not a funny joke." No one had expected that the first place would be Jiang Fan, who nobody paid attention to. Everyone knew. Before setting off, Liu Wuchen didn't even give him any resources. It was already remarkable for him to come back unharmed. How could he possibly have killed 8 Foundation Establishment Realm demon beasts? The unrelated disciples were skeptical to this extent. One could imagine what Tang Tianlong might be thinking. Finding out that the first place was Jiang Fan, he was stunned for a long time, then burst out laughing towards the sky. "Ha ha! Jiang Fan, it's actually Jiang Fan. I Tang Tianlong am not as good as Jiang Fan. Ha ha ha. The laughter overwhelmed the entire place. Everyone could hear the suppressed anger within it. If it had been someone else, it might have been acceptable. But it had to be Jiang Fan, the worthless person he disdained to compare to, having him placed above himself. What an insult. Feng Guchen, too, after being momentarily stunned, exploded with anger. Liu Wuchen, no wonder you were so secretive. You put the first place on your own disciple. Fine. If you want to suppress my reincarnation peak, I'll accept it. But at least pick a more plausible disciple. Putting a disciple without a spirit root above my disciple, do you think it's convincing? Huh, the sect elders all looked speechless. When Hongyao couldn't help but mutter, Sect Master Liu is dreaming a bit too big, isn't he? Jiang might be good at alchemy, but with that bit of martial prowess, how could he occupy the first place in kills? Isn't this making things difficult for Jiang Fan? Amidst all the skepticism, Liu Wuchen's head was about to explode. He snapped, I didn't arrange Jiang Fan's first place. He did it himself. It wasn't arranged by Liu Wuchen. Everyone stared at Jiang Fan in amazement. How bold. Cheating openly to get himself the first place. If you're going to cheat, at least make sure it matches your abilities. Ranking above Tang Tianlong, how naive must he be to think no one would doubt it? Some female disciples, with a bit of looks, looked at the beautiful Qian and started making snide remarks. Marrying such a worthless cheat, what was she thinking? What a waste of that beautiful face. So good-looking, but such poor judgment. Qian bit her lip. Though she kept explaining, the condemning voices drowned her out, leaving her unable to defend herself. Her face turned a shameful shade of blue. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. Insulting him was one thing. Involving Qian that he couldn't tolerate. He wrapped his arm around Qian waist, pulling her close to protect her, and said domineeringly, even if it's cheating, it shows I have the ability to bribe the reward and punishment hall deacon to rig the ranking in public. Can any of you do that? You? Or you? What about you all? If you can't, then shut up. His domineering words shook the area, silencing the once chaotic scene. Many female disciples were grinding their teeth in anger, yet couldn't retort. Because what Jiang Fan said was true, getting a deacon to cheat publicly before the sect master, elders, and countless disciples. What kind of skill would that take? In the crowd, Su Yining clenched her fists tightly, watching Qian being tightly protected by Jiang Fan, standing alone against the entire sect. Her jealousy peaked. Unable to hold back, she said, talking so grandly, but cheating is cheating. What makes you qualified to rank above Tang Tianlong? Jiang Fan looked at her coldly. Because I achieved more kills than him. Any problem with that? Hearing this, Tang Tianlong laughed angrily. Jiang Fan, oh Jiang Fan, condemned by everyone, despised by all, yet you still argue. Do you think you can get away with it today? I tell you it's impossible. He strode up to the reward and punishment hall deacon. Scanning the scene, he quickly found the pouch Jiang Fan had just handed over. He grabbed it and held it high in the air, sneering. Your cheating evidence is all in this pouch. Still want to argue? He thought Jiang Fan would be worried. Unexpectedly, Jiang Fan remained calm. With a clear conscience, there's no need to argue, still being stubborn at this point. Tang Tianlong laughed angrily, tearing the rope at the pouch's opening, announcing loudly, Fine. Since you're not afraid of embarrassment, I'll fulfill your wish. Let the sect master, the elders, and all the disciples see the true face of this sect master peak disciple. Feng Guchen, of course, seized the opportunity. He fiercely struck at Liu Wuchen, saying, Everyone, take a good look. Look at what this disciple of our sect master used to fool us. Liu Wuchen couldn't help wiping his face. He shot an angry look at Jiang Fan. This guy, was he going to disgrace him and sect master peak completely? With a flick of Tang Tianlong's wrist, the pouch turned upside down. Round objects began to fall out, hitting the ground with a crisp, tinkling sound. Tang Tianlong didn't even look, sneering. Do you all see? This is the masterpiece of our sect master peak disciple, using stones as demon cores. He's even capable of that. Ha 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 ha. He gradually couldn't laugh anymore. Because as the contents fell to the ground, everyone's expressions changed dramatically. Liu Wuchen's eyes bulged. Su Yining's eyes were wide open. The disciples' faces froze. The beautiful female disciples all covered their mouths, uttering low cries. Even his own master, Feng Guchen, looked stiff-faced, staring blankly at the items on the ground. Tang Tianlong was puzzled, muttering, What's wrong with you all? He followed their gazes and instinctively glanced at the items on the ground. He had thought they were just some stones disguised to fool people, but unexpectedly, the ground was covered with brightly colored, egg-sized round beads. Each one was rich with demon power. If not fresh demon cores, what else could they be? Demon cores? Tang Tianlong's mind went blank. What Jiang Fan brought back were real demon cores, and there were as many as 8. The reward and punishment hall deacon hadn't cheated. Jiang Fan hadn't cheated either. He was truly the first place. The entire place fell deathly silent. The earlier doubts felt like sharp slaps to their faces. The reward and punishment hall deacon, finally getting a chance to speak, said bitterly, "Even if you gave me 100 guts, I wouldn't dare help a mere disciple deceive the sect master and the elders. What enormous benefit would he have to give me to make me take such a risk?" Everyone came to their senses. Expressions turned sheepish. Feng Guchen, who had been the loudest, immediately quieted down, not uttering a word, and Tang Tianlong, the whistleblower, turned red in the face. So they hadn't cheated after all. He had truly been surpassed by Jiang Fan. Recalling all his boastful words earlier, he wished he could find a hole to crawl into. Today was thoroughly embarrassing. But he still couldn't accept the fact that he was inferior to Jiang Fan, stubbornly saying, "Who knows where these demon cores came from? Maybe you bought them, and they're not from the demon beasts we hunted this time." Hearing this, not a few embarrassed disciples started to comfort themselves. That's right, it just shows Jiang Fan's cheating methods are more covert. It's not that he didn't cheat, we just can't prove he cheated. Hearing that, Jiang Fan laughed, stubborn to the end. Luckily, he had a backup plan. He walked up to the reward and punishment hall deacon, placing a fist-sized giant demon core in front of him. He said loudly, "Deacon, please tell everyone what this is." Hall paused, staring at the unusually large demon core. For a moment he couldn't recognize it. After a closer look, he widened his eyes in shock and said, This is a Beast King's demon core. It's a Beast King's demon core. Heavens, did you slay the Beast King of the 100 Beasts Mountain?" In the vast square, a sudden uproar ensued. Fortunately, this place was outdoor. If it had been indoors, the excitement might have blown the roof off. Isn't the Beast King at the core formation realm? He actually slew a core formation realm being. In our Green Cloud sect territory, there's only one Beast King in the 100 Beasts Mountain. This means that Jiang Fan did indeed kill the demon beasts of the 100 Beasts Mountain. He didn't cheat. He really killed that many demon beasts. The doubters all fell silent. Other demon cores could be bought, but where could one buy a Beast King's demon core? Tang Tianlong's face turned unsightly. He had intended to sabotage Jiang Fan's first place. But who knew instead he would affirm Jiang Fan's first place without any dispute? Seeing his favorite disciple so humiliated, Feng Guchen angrily said, "Sect Master, since you knew Jiang Fan was first, why did you keep it hidden just now?" Had it not been so, how could Tang Tianlong have doubted him so much and ended up being humiliated? Liu Wuchen's mouth twitched. "You ask me, who should I ask?" He was more puzzled than anyone. This disciple whom he couldn't stand had actually achieved such an astonishing feat. Who could he reason with now? However, in front of the entire sect, he naturally could not show his foolishness. He cleared his throat and said, Wasn't it to avoid demoralizing your disciple, Tang Tianlong? Who knew your disciple would insist on digging to the bottom? Now that he's embarrassed, you can't blame this sect master." Feng Guchen gritted his teeth. Today, truly, they had brought humiliation upon themselves. Not only had they lost face, but they also allowed the sect master Peak to bask in glory. To make matters worse, Jiang Fan was not willing to let it go. He looked at Tang Tianlong with his hands behind his back and said, "Do you have any more doubts?" "Second place, Tang Tianlong." The latter statement was truly a killing blow. It drew people's lips to twitch uncontrollably. Tang Tianlong was indeed enraged, shouting in humiliation, "So what if you have more kills than me? It's just a bit more time to cultivate in the Holy Hall. You, a waste without a spirit root, what's the point of cultivating no matter how long?" Jiang Fan shrugged. "Even if I can't cultivate, can't I still have 2 wives?" He beckoned to Su Yoren in the crowd. The latter, in front of everyone, shyly ran over to Jiang Fan and complained, "You and Silin going would have been enough. Why drag me along? So many people watching, it's so embarrassing." Jiang Fan took her into his arms as well and laughed. "This way, those who usually envy and slander you can have a good look at whether you made a wrong choice for your husband." Upon hearing this, Su Yoren's eyes brightened slightly. She unconsciously lifted her fair neck a little. She was so beautiful, her spirit root was also extremely high, yet her fiancé was the notorious spirit rootless Jiang Fan. How could there be a lack of gossip? There was no shortage of jealous attackers who called her blind. She never argued, for Jiang Fan indeed had no spirit root and she couldn't refute it. But today, she finally felt proud. Who would dare say her fiancé was unworthy now? Say she lacked discernment? Watching Su Yoran and Chen Silin both getting the spotlight because of Jiang Fan made Su Yining very uncomfortable. She bit her red lips and stared at them silently. Noticing her expression, Tang Tianlong felt even more disgraced. Before setting out, he had boasted grandly about his superiority. In the end, he made Su Yining look inferior. He shouted, entering the holy hall doesn't mean relaxation. Cultivation requires guidance. Can you, a waste without a spirit root, provide guidance to them? Then he turned to Su Yining and said, Junior sister Su, let's go. Follow me and I will personally guide your cultivation. I assure you a day of training with me will be worth 10 days with them. Su Yining's eyes lit up. Yes, the future was still uncertain. Tang Tianlong was an exceptional talent. With his personal guidance, how could her progress not surpass theirs? Hearing this, the crowd finally came to their senses. That's right, what's so great about being first place anyway? Merit points are ultimately for use in the Holy Hall for cultivation. No matter how many merit points Jiang Fan has, can he guide his 2 wives. Su Yining is still fortunate, although she can only cultivate in the Holy Hall for 1.5 days. But I bet her gains will definitely be much greater than those of Jiang Fan's 2 wives. Liu Wuchen, who had just rejoiced in stepping on a great elder momentarily, also sighed inwardly upon hearing this. Jiang Fan entering is purely a waste of merit points. Thinking this, he said, Jiang Fan, if you don't mind, I can have Wang Chengjian enter the Holy Hall to guide them for you. This way, not only would merit points not be wasted, but Jiang Fan's wives would also receive good guidance. But he failed to realize that this was a competition between Jiang Fan and Tang Tianlong, between Su Yining and the 2 women. He had to go. Master, I recently have some insights into the martial path, and I want to share them with my 2 fiancées, so I must decline. Being rejected made Liu Wuchen raise an eyebrow. But remembering that Jiang Fan had earned him great face just now, he restrained his emotions and nodded. Then arrange it yourself. After all, after the Holy Hall cultivation, if Jiang Fan's wives fell short, it would be his face that was lost, not Liu Wuchen's. Tang Tianlong laughed and said, Jiang Fan, perhaps you should follow the sect master's arrangement. Let someone else guide your wives. At least your wives wouldn't lose so badly. Jiang Fan glanced at him, calmly shaking the bag full of demon cores, making a jingling sound. This made Tang Tianlong's face darken. Just by luck you got so many. We'll see the results in the Holy Hall. Jiang Fan smiled. His harvest would fetch 180 merit points. Evenly distributed among the 3, each could cultivate individually for 5 days. Enough for the realm of all 3 to improve, how much depended on the Holy Hall's mystical power. Jiang Fan? At this moment, Elder Li Qingfeng of the Heavenly Sword Peak approached with a heavy heart. Though Li Qingfeng had not favored him initially and continuously belittled him for achieving cultivation by exhausting his potential, he had treated Chen Silin and Su Yoran well. Therefore, Jiang Fan still maintained the necessary courtesy. Greetings, Elder Li. Li Qingfeng hesitated and asked, Why haven't I seen my disciple Ding Wanping? Do you have any news of him? He had inquired with the disciples who returned first. He had only learned that Ding Wanping had been favored by a soul master and became the young master of the Ding family. Remembering Ding Zhuhui's instructions, Jiang Fan explained the whole situation. On hearing it, Li Qingfeng trembled inwardly, eyes showing a trace of sorrow, yet he was helpless. After all, Ding Wanping was a member of the Ding family. That was their family affair. He, an outsider, had no stake in it. Moreover, it was too late to intervene. Alas, I always reminded him to widen his mind, avoid arrogance and impatience, or it might bring trouble to himself. I didn't expect it to come true in the end. Looking at the composed and steady Jiang Fan in front of him, he couldn't help but think if only Ding Wanping had half of Jiang Fan's steadiness, perhaps he wouldn't have met this fate. Thinking so, he began to see Jiang Fan in a different light. This unexpected and astounding accomplishment must be tied to his character. He raised his hand and patted Jiang Fan on the shoulder. You did well this time. But to be worthy of my 2 female disciples, you still have a long way to go. Keep up the good work. Jiang Fan felt a sense of strangeness. Was this really the same Li Qingfeng who couldn't stand him, shaking his head? He led the 2 women to the Holy Hall, in front of the Holy Hall. 2 unkempt old men were whispering to each other. One of them was Huang Zhanshan from the Scripture Pavilion. Seeing Jiang Fan approaching, he quickly said, Old Zhang, that's the kid. Old Zhang was another Supreme Elder, Zhang Qiushuang. He was in charge of guarding the Holy Hall. Looking in the indicated direction, he couldn't help but reveal a hint of suspicion. His cultivation is very low. just the fourth layer of foundation establishment. Did you read too many inappropriate books and your eyes got blurry? You really have high expectations for this kid. Huang Zhanshan rolled his eyes. When have I ever misjudged someone? Zheng Qiushuang curled his lips. Fine, didn't they just finish hunting demon beasts? Let's see how your favored disciple performed in this action. Hopefully, it's not just one merit point. Huang Zhanshan's heart skipped a beat. What he valued was Jiang Fan's comprehension ability of the cultivation technique. As for his future in the martial path, he truly didn't have a clear grasp. But he also didn't want to expose Jiang Fan's extraordinary aspect to prevent others from getting interested, so he couldn't say it clearly. He could only stiffen his resolve and say, "Anyway, he has exceptional qualities. You must vote for him." Zheng Qiushuang remained unmoved and said, "Let's observe first." He glanced around, seeing that everyone was almost present. He slowly stood up and said, "Line up and register your merit points one by one." Everyone knew this person was a Supreme Elder who dared to act recklessly. Even someone as proud as Tianxiang behaved obediently like a child, standing in line quietly. After registering most of them, Zheng Qiushuang remained expressionless. Only when Tianxiang had 41 merit points did he slightly nod his head, indicating approval. Soon, it was Jiang Fan's turn. Huang Zhanshan also craned his neck to look over, muttering, "This kid better not embarrass me. I went through a lot to recommend him." Zheng Qiushuang then gave Jiang Fan a meaningful glance and said, "How many merit points?" Jiang Fan took out the certificate given by the deacon of the reward and punishment hall and placed it before him. Zheng Qiushuang glanced down at it briefly and couldn't help but be surprised. 80, Tianxiang only had 40. This kid actually had double what Tianxiang had. Interesting indeed. No wonder Huang Zhanshan had faith in him. 80 points not bad. Zheng Qiushuang smiled slightly. However, when he carefully verified the certificate, his smile froze because he overlooked 2 words before 80. They were 100. 180? Zheng Qiushuang exclaimed softly in disbelief. How did this happen? A Foundation Establishment Realm Demon Beast was 10 points. 180, didn't that mean that he alone killed 18 Foundation Establishment Realm Demon Beasts? Could it be that the Foundation Establishment demons in 100 Beasts Mountain had become wooden stakes, standing there waiting for him to kill one with one strike? He even suspected the certificate was fake. Carefully examining it, he found a detailed explanation and couldn't help muttering, 8 Foundation Establishment Realm Demon Beasts, 1 Core Formation Realm Demon Beast. Wait, Core Formation Realm Demon Beast? Zheng Qiushuang abruptly raised his head, looking at Jiang Fan in shock as if he had seen a ghost, and asked, "Did you kill a Core Formation Realm Demon Beast?" Jiang Fan was startled by his look and dared not lie, saying, "It was severely wounded. I just took advantage of the situation to finish it off." But Zheng Qiushuang knew very well, even a dying demon beast was extremely dangerous. The so-called cornered beast fought fiercely. The closer to death, the more dangerous the beast's attacks would be. Without real skills, it was simply impossible to kill it. Huang Zhanshan squeezed over. Looking at the achievements on the certificate, he couldn't help but widen his eyes and then proudly said, "Old Zheng, want to say my eyes are failing me again?" Zheng Qiushuang stared blankly at Jiang Fan. He had to admit, Huang Zhanshan really found an extraordinary youngster. Pouting, he said sulkily, "It's too early to say that. Let's see how he performs in the Holy Hall." Then he allowed Jiang Fan and the 2 women to pass. After entering the Holy Hall, a mist surged towards them, shrouding everything around. One could say it was so thick that visibility was next to none. Mist! Jiang Fan was startled for a moment, quickly recognizing it, and his pupils shrank. Spiritual Qi fog! Only when the spiritual Qi had reached its peak of concentration would it condense into fog. This was the place with the most abundant spiritual Qi he had ever seen. No wonder everyone wanted to enter the Holy Hall to cultivate. Spending just a few days here, it would be hard not to make a breakthrough. He led the 2 women to a corner, whispering, "Operate the mental method I imparted to you and see if there are any weaknesses." With spiritual Qi so abundant, the speed of cultivation depended on the spirit root and the cultivation technique. The spirit root increased absorption speed, the cultivation technique increased refining speed. The higher the grade of both, the faster the cultivation speed. The 2 women realized this was an extremely rare opportunity and immediately sat cross-legged to operate the mental method. Usually, they were guided by Li Qingfeng. However, the mental method they practiced was the profound-level mental method imparted by Jiang Fan, unfamiliar to Li Qingfeng, who couldn't detect their deficiencies. Now, as the two women practiced, Jiang Fan noticed numerous deficiencies. After pointing them out one by one, their mental method operation speed increased by more than double. "Thank you, my husband," Xianxia exclaimed excitedly. "After 5 days, who knows what realm I will reach?" Currently, she was at the 9th layer of Qi cultivation. Su Yoren, on the other hand, was at the 1st layer of foundation establishment. Jiang Fan was also somewhat expectant. He immediately sat cross-legged, beginning to cultivate quietly. All three of them practiced Jiang Fan's dragon-seeking scripture. The difference was, Jiang Fan had a transparent spirit root, Su Yoren had a 7th-grade spirit root, and Xianxia had a 6th-grade spirit root. A day and a half later, Jiang Fan opened his eyes, his gaze sharp, feeling the endless spiritual power and couldn't help showing joy. 5th layer of foundation establishment? Just a day and a half, such results were truly extraordinary. Turning to look at Xianxia and Su Yoren, Xianxia successfully reached foundation establishment, and Su Yoren reached the 2nd layer of foundation establishment, catching up with Su Yining. Although their cultivation speed would slow down gradually, it was likely they could make another breakthrough within this time. At the entrance of the Holy Hall, most disciples had already left. Tang Tianlong and Su Yining were among those who cultivated the longest. Su Yining looked delighted and grateful. "Thank you, Senior Brother Tang. Thank you, Senior Brother Tang." With Tang Tianlong's guidance and the superior environment of the Holy Hall, she broke through her bottleneck, reaching the 3rd layer of foundation establishment. Tang Tianlong smiled warmly, turning to look at the Holy Hall behind him, snorting through his nose. "In 3 days, come back here and see. I want to see if he can also help 2 women break through a realm like I did." 2 days later, Jiang Fan broke through another realm, reaching the 6th layer of foundation establishment. He tried to continue cultivating but found his meridians aching. This was because of the mixed spiritual power causing an obstructed flow. In simple terms, his foundation was unstable. After reaching the later stages of foundation establishment, each realm required a solid base. Breaking through 2 layers consecutively was already the limit. He couldn't keep pushing mindlessly. Helpless, he had to stop cultivating. Seeing that there were still 2 days left, he recalled the dangerous encounter with the Beast King. "I need to refine my movement technique, solitary wild goose shadow, and wandering dragon palm must not be neglected." So, he switched to cultivating techniques. After more than half a day, with the tip of his toe, he became as light as a wild goose, leaping more than 10 feet in a single step. Better than the effect of the high-grade magical artifact Gale Pearl. "2nd layer, great success," Jiang Fan exclaimed happily. Next was cultivating the wandering dragon palm. Compared to the movement technique, the wandering dragon palm was much easier. In less than half a day, he mastered the 2nd form. "Dragon control?" As he punched out, a thunderous dragon roar accompanied it. The power was immensely fierce. With the cultivation of the 6th layer of foundation establishment, no one at the same realm should be able to withstand this punch. The fist power swept forward into the fog. At this moment, only the 3 of them were left in the Holy Hall with no one else around. So Jiang Fan didn't pay attention to his surroundings. Who knew not far away a woman's scream suddenly came. "Ouch, who is it? Why aren't you looking where you're going?" Jiang Fan was stunned. How could there still be someone here? It's already the 4th day. Shouldn't everyone have left by now? But no matter what he had hurt someone, he quickly apologized. "Fairy, I'm really sorry. I thought no one was here." Unexpectedly, the other party was not someone who would let it go so easily. She said angrily, "If an apology worked, what would we need fists for?" "Stand still and let me hit you back." Jiang Fan felt helpless. She seemed like a young girl. Her punch shouldn't be too hard. Let her hit him back once then. At least this way they wouldn't have a prolonged conflict. However, when the punch came, Jiang Fan's face changed drastically. That punch carried the force of the core formation realm. Was she trying to kill him? Jiang Fan no longer dared to remain still. He quickly dodged and said, "Miss, it was not intentional. There's no need to hit so hard, right?" But the other party was very unreasonable, biting her silver teeth as she said, "I don't care. You hit me, I'll hit you back." Jiang Fan's forehead veins bulged. How could she be so unreasonable? Moreover, Su Yoren and Xianxia were cultivating not far away. What if they were affected? Thinking of this, Jiang Fan got angry. "Then let's see if you have the ability." He dodged to another place, drawing away this fierce girl. The latter heard the footsteps and indeed chased after him. She swung her fists wildly in the mist. Every punch made Jiang Fan's heart race. Fortunately, the thick spirit mist greatly obscured vision, limiting the use of her strength. Otherwise, he would have had trouble, seeing her unwilling to give up. Jiang Fan no longer hesitated. "Bring it on!" The girl had no combat experience and kept swinging her fists. The sound revealed her position. So Jiang Fan decisively used a movement technique, quickly moving near her position. In the mist, he struck out with a dragon control. Not caring if it hit or not, he punched and quickly ran, not giving her a chance to counter. Thud, 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 ah. She missed 3 punches and got hit once, stomping her feet in anger, yelling, "You bastard! Come out, I promise I won't kill you!" Bang! Jiang Fan followed the sound, hit her again, just right on her arm. She winched in pain, kicked hard. But Jiang Fan had already used his movement technique, running in time, making her kick empty. Like this. They tangled for half a day. Jiang Fan was only accidentally brushed on the shoulder, leaving a bruise. But the silly girl didn't know how many punches she had taken. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. Crying loudly, she ran out of the holy hall. At this moment, Huang Xianxian and Zheng Qiushuang were lying on chairs, sunbathing. Huang Xianxian checked the time and said, "It's almost been 5 days, that boy should come out now." Zheng Qiushuang chuckled, "Don't rush. When he comes out, I'll check out his progress. If he hasn't made any progress, don't blame me for not saving face for you." Just then, the door was pushed open. Nangong Zioyan rubbed her eyes, crying as she ran out. "Wah! Wah, Vice Pavilion Master, come quick, someone bullied me. Wah!" The two couldn't help but sit up. Seeing Nangong Zioyan in her miserable state, they were startled. Her nose was bruised, her pretty pink dress torn into shreds by the punches, and her braided black hair was in disarray. They almost didn't recognize that this was the cute girl Yunzi had brought. As a guest, and also a distinguished guest from Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. When Nangong Zioyan said she wanted to cultivate inside, they naturally allowed her. But how did she end up like this? As the manager of the Holy Hall, Zheng Qiushuang quickly asked, "Miss Nangong, what happened to you?" Hearing someone backing her up, Nangong Zioyan cried even harder. "Someone hit me inside." "Wah!" Now in the Holy Hall, only Jiang Fan and his 2 wives remained, right? Both of those wives had low cultivation levels, so the one who beat Nangong Zioyan could only be Jiang Fan. Nangong Zioyan cried for a while, not seeing Yunzi coming, then ran off to get reinforcements while bawling. Watching her back as she left, Zheng Qiushuang was somewhat shocked. "If I'm not mistaken, Nangong Zioyan is the #1 proud daughter of Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, right? And not long ago broke through to the core formation realm. She was beaten by Jiang Fan." Huang Xianxian was equally dumbfounded. Then he wiped his face hard. "Goodness, he can beat core formation realm cultivators now? What kind of monster have I taken a liking to?" Not long after, as the cultivation time ended, a party of 3 came out. Zheng Qiushuang and Huang Xianxian simultaneously looked at Jiang Fan, thinking he would be somewhat injured after a battle with a core formation realm cultivator. The result astonished the 2 old men. Aside from his fist being scuffed from too much hitting, there wasn't a single injury. Zheng Qiushuang patted Huang Xianxian's back, saying, "Old fellow, this Jiang Fan is indeed remarkable. Fine, I'll cast my vote for him." Meanwhile, Tang Tianlong and Su Yining came together. Some onlooking disciples also arrived one after another. Even Li Qingfeng rushed over to greet their emergence. The formerly quiet entrance to the Holy Hall instantly became lively. Tang Tianlong crossed his arms, speaking in a playful tone. "How did it go? First place? Don't tell me after 5 days of cultivating, your 2 wives didn't even break through the first layer." Su Yining's eyes sparkled. She said proudly, "Under senior brother Tang's guidance, I've already broken through to the 3rd layer of foundation establishment. And I only cultivated for a day and a half. Chen Silin, sister, you both cultivated for 5 days. Don't tell me even you couldn't surpass me?" Li Qingfeng couldn't understand what was wrong with Su Yining. Normally, she was quite nice. Although somewhat arrogant, in dealings with others she was quite peaceful. Why did she act like a little pepper every time Jiang Fan was involved, provoking everyone around? The 3 girls were all his disciples and were all very talented. He didn't want them to hurt their relationship, so he tried to give Chen Silin and Su Yoran an easy way out. "Yining, you had senior brother Tang's direct guidance, so naturally you made progress faster. They had to explore on their own, so even if their progress wasn't great, it's still commendable. Don't laugh at them." Su Yining bit her silver teeth lightly. She had waited 3 days just to watch their disgrace. Why did she have to let them off so easily? Therefore, she said expressionlessly, "Master, I can follow your command and not laugh at them. But can you stop others from mocking them?" Face is earned by oneself, not given by others. They chose the wrong person, found the wrong backer, being laughed at is their own choice. They can't blame anyone else. Li Qingfeng had a headache. It seemed today the three girls had to see who would come out on top. Hopefully, Chen Silin and Su Yoren's progress wouldn't be too bad, so none of the three would lose face. The onlooking disciples started to talk as well. There's a 90% chance the two girls didn't progress. I also think there wouldn't be much progress. Although the spiritual energy in the Holy Hall is rich, it requires a strong cultivation technique to harness it. Unlike Su Yining, who had a senior brother at the 8th layer of foundation establishment providing guidance, they might not cultivate smoothly on their own. But they did cultivate for a full 5 days. If they didn't make any progress, that would be too embarrassing. Everyone had something to say. Su Yoren's face flushed as she said to Su Yining, "Sister, let it go, why compare among family? All the jokes would be seen by outsiders." Su Yining did recognize this sister. She nodded slightly. "Fine, I won't compare with you. But Chen Silin, today you can't escape." They were all calling her by name. Chen Silin had no reason to retreat. Moreover, she had no need to retreat. "Su Yining, you shouldn't have come." From the beginning, she knew she wouldn't lose, because she was Jiang Fan's woman. Whether it was Su Yoren or her, since they followed Jiang Fan, who hadn't undergone a complete transformation and soared to great heights. What did Su Yining have to win against her? The irony was, this position should have been Su Yining's. She didn't want it herself, gave it to her sister, and then ultimately it fell to her. "What, did you really make a breakthrough?" Su Yining was slightly surprised, but she quickly calmed down. "You were in the 9th layer of Qi cultivation before, right? Even if you had great luck and succeeded in foundation establishment, it's still not as good as my breakthrough from the 2nd layer to the 3rd layer." Tang Tianlong crossed his arms. Impatiently said, "Jiang Fan, have your woman quickly display her cultivation. Weren't you arrogant before? Didn't you claim to be the first? Let me see if you can still step on me again." Li Qingfeng sighed slightly. No matter how compared, Chen Silin would lose. Even if she really broke through to foundation establishment, there was nothing to show off. Just as Su Yining said, from the 9th layer of Qi cultivation to foundation establishment couldn't compare to the gap between the 2nd and 3rd layers of foundation establishment. Moreover, foundation establishment wasn't that easy. Without the help of the foundation establishment pill, it required a powerful cultivation technique. But Chen Silin's cultivation technique wasn't deeply cultivated. Without guidance, breaking through to foundation establishment was challenging. Several quite attractive, well-endowed female disciples whispered to each other. "You didn't see it. When Jiang Fan won 1st place, how proud Chen Silin was. She really thought she married an extraordinary husband." HMPH. She won't be laughing soon? Chen Silin's eyes showed helplessness. Since she had to compare, she would do as Su Yining wished. As her thoughts moved, the spiritual power within her body slowly emerged. Everyone couldn't help but stare. Feeling the strong spiritual power unique to Foundation Establishment Realm, they were all moved. Foundation Establishment Realm, she really succeeded in Foundation Establishment. Several beautiful female disciples bit their silver teeth, very unwilling. She is so lucky without guidance she could succeed in Foundation Establishment. So what if she broke through to Foundation Establishment? She still can't compare to Su Yining. Moreover, she cultivated for 5 whole days. Su Yining only took a day and a half. Isn't she ashamed? Tang Tianlong was shocked. She really broke through to Foundation Establishment Realm. Without Jiang Fan's guidance, she could actually break through. Such luck! But she still can't compare to Su Yining, though he had already mentally prepared. But realizing Chen Silin broke through to Foundation Establishment was still hard for her to take. The only comfort was, Chen Silin's 5 days of cultivation effects were not as good as her day and a half. This gave her some comfort, she sneered. Not impressive. But before she finished speaking, she noticed Chen Silin's spiritual power was still gushing out, showing no signs of stopping, very quickly reaching the level of the 2nd layer of Foundation Establishment, and only stopped at perfection. Li Qingfeng was surprised. 2nd layer of Foundation Establishment perfection? He exclaimed with joy. Xiling, how did you do this? From the 9th layer of Qi cultivation to the 2nd layer of Foundation Establishment perfection in one go, this was too astonishing. Even if he personally guided, he might not achieve such progress. Several beautiful female disciples were stunned speechless. In just 5 days, she broke through to the 2nd layer of Foundation Establishment perfection. With some more time and meditation, she could break through to the 3rd layer of Foundation Establishment. She could catch up with their cultivation soon, but they were old disciples. Chen Silin had only been an entry disciple for a month. Tang Tianlong's arms dropped from his chest. He looked shocked. Second layer of foundation establishment perfection? Without guidance, how is it possible? Jiang Fan, did you ask someone to guide her? As soon as he said it, he realized he asked a stupid question. Merit points were limited. How could he spare extra points to ask for guidance for 5 days? Onlookers were astounded. From the 9th layer of Qi cultivation breaking through to the 2nd layer of foundation establishment in 5 days. If there's no expert guiding, I would stand on my head and pee. Chen Silin really didn't misjudge. She got a good man. Had I known earlier, I would have become Jiang Fan's woman as well. Her gains far exceed Su Yining's. Su Yining couldn't accept it. When she was the daughter of the prodigy in Lonely Boat City, Chen Silin was still a mediocre spirit root, with no martial prospects, only fit to be a woman of a businesswoman. But since becoming Jiang Fan's concubine, she soared, advancing step by step until now almost on par with her. The dramatic change was like a slap reminding her. Back then, how resolutely she refused Jiang Fan, how foolish it was. The intense thoughts drove her almost irrational. With inexplicable resentment, she rushed forward and struck at Chen Silin's chest, shrieking, "I don't believe it! I don't believe your 2nd layer of foundation establishment!" She struck without warning. No one was prepared. Chen Silin was startled by her crazy move and hurriedly raised her arm to block. She was just in the 2nd layer of foundation establishment. Su Yining was in the 3rd layer of foundation establishment, and she had cultivated offensive techniques. How could Chen Silin block her? She could be struck and have her bones broken. Fortunately, Jiang Fan was always on guard. He frowned, about to intervene. But Su Yoren acted first. With a trace of anger on her face, she grabbed Su Yining's wrist. Unhappy, she said, "Yining, what are you doing? Calm down." Su Yining, in a fit of rage, ignored any advice. She screamed sharply, "Let go. It's none of your business. And you have no right to intervene." From childhood to adulthood, she never regarded Su Yoren as her sister, even entering the Green Cloud sect. Her strength surpassed Su Yoren. Su Yoren, in a hurry, had no choice but to push with her spiritual power. In an instant, Su Yining, caught off guard, was sent reeling back. She looked at Su Yoren in shock. "You, what realm are you in?" In that attack, she had used her full strength. Su Yoren was only supposed to be in the 1st layer of foundation establishment. How could she repulse her? Li Qingfeng witnessed the entire scene. He couldn't help but exclaim, "3rd layer of foundation establishment perfection. Yoren, you've also made such great progress." The crowd was in an uproar. They looked incredulous. Not only did Chen Silin make astonishing progress, but Su Yoren also improved greatly. Who is guiding them for them to make such remarkable progress? The most shocked of all. Undoubtedly, it was Su Yining. She stared at Su Yoren, her vision darkening. The only thing she could still be proud of in front of Su Yoren was her strength. But that pride, built over 10 years, vanished at this moment. And the cause of it all was that she had pushed her fiancé to her sister. "Why is it like this? Why?" Su Yining broke down, tears streaming down her face. Her breakdown also shamed Tang Tianlong. He had once proudly declared that what he could give Su Yining would far surpass what Jiang Fan could give his 2 wives. And what was the result? She lost miserably and was so upset. He quickly comforted. "Junior sister Su with me here, don't worry." Before he finished, Su Yining, in complete disappointment, interrupted him. "No need. You can't possibly beat Jiang Fan." She wiped her tears and ran away. A man's biggest taboo is being told they're inadequate, especially by a beautiful woman. To be told this by Su Yining in front of everyone, Tang Tianlong laughed in anger. "I'm not as good as Jiang Fan. Tang Tianlong, am not as good as a worthless man with no spirit root." This was a massive insult. He was furious. His spiritual power surged. He roared, "Jiang, dare you fight me?" Jiang Fan sighed. He was at home when trouble came from the sky, but given the other party's aggressive attitude, he had no reason to back down. He turned his hand to grasp the hilt of the black sword on his back and said calmly, "All right, I'll play with you." He had just broken through to the foundation establishment's 6th layer, requiring a lot of combat to solidify his foundation. Tang Tianlong, who was at the foundation establishment 8th layer, was an experienced senior disciple with rich combat experience. Using him to hone his spiritual power was just right. "Play with me? Ha ha. Ha ha ha." The relaxed tone made Tang Tianlong feel even more insulted. He laughed angrily. "Do you really think you're stepping on my head? Fine, let me teach you your first life lesson. Arrogance always leads to disaster." His spiritual power surged, making his clothes flutter noisily. Just as the two were about to clash, Li Qingfeng frowned and said, Are you planning to cause trouble in front of the two supreme elders? Tang Tianlong's heart trembled. Only then did he realize that Huang Zhanshan and Zheng Qiushuang were watching. Frightened, he quickly restrained his spiritual power. Private fights between disciples were forbidden by the sect. Violating the rules in front of the supreme elders was clearly disrespectful to them. He glared at Jiang Fan unwillingly. During the disciple rating, I hope you can be as confident as you are today. In half a month, it would be the disciple rating. And the one doing the rating would be Tang Tianlong. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. He was confident that his current strength would not be embarrassed by Tang Tianlong. However, the power of rating lay in Tang Tianlong's hands. Unless he could demonstrate absolute superiority, Tang Tianlong would have the opportunity to give him a maliciously low rating. Therefore, he needed to continue strengthening his power. Before that, he had to find a way to engage in a lot of practical combat to solidify his foundation. I'm sorry, my husband, for causing you trouble. Chen Silin looked guilty. Her conflict with Su Yining had eventually implicated Jiang Fan. Given Tang Tianlong's intense anger, one could imagine the difficulties Jiang Fan would face in the upcoming disciple rating. Jiang Fan was unconcerned. He reached out to smooth the wrinkle on her forehead, speaking gently, "Since you see me as your husband, I will take on the responsibility of being your husband." Chen Silin was moved. Although she was a concubine, Jiang Fan had never belittled her. He treated her no less favorably than Su Yoren, making her feel respect and love everywhere. "Meeting you is my good fortune." Her voice choked slightly. Her eyes shimmered with tears. Why did she start crying while talking? Jiang Fan was a bit at a loss, so he quickly changed the subject. "Your cultivation realms have improved, but you can't neglect the cultivation techniques." Not only did Jiang Fan have to face the disciple rating, but they would also. Today, they had made a splash following Jiang Fan, making many people envious. If they made mistakes in the disciple rating, gossip would ensue. After a moment of thought, Jiang Fan took out the first volume of Sword Heart engraving and handed it to Su Yoren. "You two practice for a while. If you don't understand something, come to me." This swordsmanship even Huang Zhanshan couldn't comprehend. It was uncertain whether the two women could. Seeing yet another cultivation technique without a grade, Su Yoren muttered, "Don't tell me it's another incredibly powerful technique." The cultivation techniques Jiang Fan had given her before were always astonishing. Li Qingfeng was somewhat speechless. Jiang Fan was so generous with his two female disciples. As their master, he couldn't pretend not to see it, right? Otherwise, what would others say about him? Helpless, he could only pull out a silver coin from his sleeve and throw it to Jiang Fan, saying grumpily, "We're even now." Jiang Fan took it and saw that it was a coin engraved with the characters "Martial Soul." Although he didn't know what it was, he still cupped his hands in thanks. Then he held the hands of the two women and said goodbye. "Remember, if you don't understand something, come to me anytime." Su Yoren nodded. Chen Silin seemed hesitant, as if she wanted to tell Jiang Fan something. Affected by the crowd, she ultimately held back. After the two women returned to Heavenly Sword Peak, they immediately went into seclusion together to study the Sword Heart engraving given by Jiang Fan. Su Yoren was reading with interest. Chen Silin, however, was restless because a voice had suddenly appeared in her mind. "You little girl, didn't I warn you not to reveal my existence? What, do you want to tell that rotten brat about me?" Chen Silin's face turned pale. She glanced at Su Yoren cautiously. Seeing that the latter hadn't noticed, she defended herself in her mind. "It was Jiang Fan who sensed your existence and gave me a prescription, which allowed you to awaken." This voice was none other than the innate fetus Jiang Fan had once diagnosed. However, unexpectedly for Jiang Fan, this innate fetus didn't grant Chen Silin some immense ability. Instead, it held a mysterious consciousness. She claimed to have reincarnated with her memories and became Chen Silin's twin sister. But due to certain reasons, the fetus had disintegrated. Even her soul was absorbed by Chen Silin, awoken gradually by the nourishment of Jiang Fan's prescription for a month. Recently, Chen Silin's breakthrough in the foundation establishment had fully awakened her. Her tone softened a bit and she snorted lightly, "I will find another way to thank him. But my existence must not be revealed. Because no man in this world is good." Chen Silin was speechless and said, "Sister, Jiang Fan is different from other men. He treats me very well. Even though I am a concubine, he has never mistreated me." This made her even angrier. "You must break off the engagement with him immediately. I am the dignified Moon Venerate, and yet I am a concubine to a man without a spirit root. If this gets out, how will I have the face to return to the heavens?" I might as well just dissipate. Chen Silin ignored her and snorted. I have decided to stay with him for this life, no matter how many prodigious talents you speak of in your world. But when I was just a merchant's daughter in Lonely Boat City, it was Jiang Fan who gave me the spirit root. When I was at my lowest, it was he who provided me with a sky free from rain and wind. In this life, I only want him. With that, she impatiently said, All right, I won't argue with you. I will definitely tell Jiang Fan about your existence. He is my husband, and I don't want to keep secrets from him. Now I need to practice swordsmanship. This is the technique my husband gave me, and I want to train well for him. The Moon Venerate was exasperated. Why did she meet someone so stubborn? Any man she casually recommended would be 10,000 times better than Jiang Fan. Why was she insisting on him? Grinding her teeth, she said, You are too naive. He gives you any useless sword technique, and you are overjoyed. If you really want to practice swordsmanship, I can give you a book anytime. She didn't believe that a nobody without a spirit root like Jiang Fan could give Chen Silin a good cultivation technique. Seeing Chen Silin still ignoring her, the Moon Venerate also looked at sword-heart engraving through Chen Silin's eyes and snorted lightly. Don't believe me? Then I'll make you lose hope and see how useless this sword technique is. The name sword-heart engraving is ordinary. The cultivation method is ordinary. The power is ordinary. However, as Chen Silin's eyes moved to the illustrations above, she was stunned. Wait, the characters on this meteorite, why do they look familiar? After thinking for a while, her eyes suddenly widened. She took a sharp breath. Detecting the abnormality in the Moon Venerate, Chen Silin couldn't help but feel uneasy. Is there something wrong with this cultivation technique? The Moon Venerate stared at the cultivation technique, her tone filled with disbelief. I can't believe I can see the Sword Venerate's legacy technique in such a remote place. Truly unbelievable. Who was the Sword Venerate? Chen Silin was puzzled for a moment, but seeing her high and mighty elder sister so astonished, the Sword Venerate's status was evidently high. The legacy technique he left behind couldn't possibly be low in value. Unable to hold back, a hint of joy appeared at the corners of her mouth as she thought, Well, so what if it's the Sword Venerate's legacy technique? In the eyes of the Moon Venerate, it's just a trivial sword technique. The Moon Venerate's mouth twitched. This girl reversing the situation to mock her. But when it came to swordsmanship, she could never compare to the Sword Venerate. What qualifications did she have to say the Sword Venerate's legacy technique was inadequate? With a stern face, she said, This boy's luck is really strong. The Sword Venerate's swordsmanship is a secret not passed on. Aside from the Sword Venerable Palace, outsiders absolutely cannot cultivate it. He unexpectedly picked up one of the scrolls. Chen Silin proudly said, So should I continue cultivating it? The Moon Venerate glared at her. Are you done yet? Although this is a basic sword technique, the Sword Venerate's legacy technique is rare and should not be missed. Sit down, I'll teach you how to cultivate it, despite swordsmanship not being her specialty. With her extensive experience, guiding basic sword techniques posed no difficulty. Meanwhile, Jiang Fan returned to the sect master peak, heading straight to his cave dwelling. He was away for many days. Did the little Qilin starve to death? The top-grade black soul bone healing ointment he left, for it might not have been enough. However, as soon as he opened the door, an overwhelming medicinal fragrance greeted him. The ground was littered with various heavenly materials and earthly treasures that had been gnawed on and discarded randomly. Among them were land, coral, and black-striped ganoderma for refining foundation establishment pills, as well as white tiger roses for top-grade black soul bone healing ointments, all of which had been gnawed on and discarded like garbage. As a soul master, seeing such heavenly treasures being wasted was heart-wrenching. The fire Tao boiled within him. Little Qilin, come out here. Thud, thud, thud. A cute little beast with brown fur emerged, holding a giant ginseng as thick as an arm in its mouth, galloping towards him. Seeing Jiang Fan from afar, it happily leaped into his arms, emitting a pitiful whimper. Boo-hoo, master, you finally returned. Do you know what kind of days I've been through these past few days? When I was hungry, I ate heavenly materials and earthly treasures. When I was thirsty, I drank wolf head honey. I was so pitiful, boo-hoo-hoo. Pitiful, Jiang Fan was stunned. Then he recalled the past days where he endured rough conditions, chased by the Beast King. His face instantly darkened. He grabbed the fur on the little Qilin's neck and said through gritted teeth, I should have brought you along too. Then, pointing at the wasted heavenly materials and earthly treasures on the ground, he frowned. Where did you get these? The little Qilin shrank its neck and said, I picked them. What? Where could so many heavenly materials and earthly treasures be picked? Jiang Fan's heart raced. Are there so many heavenly materials and earthly treasures near the Green Cloud sect? The little Qin nodded. Yes, there are many. I couldn't pick them all. What? Jiang Fan's eyes shone with excitement, urging, Quick, take me there. Are the people of the Green Cloud sect so indifferent to heavenly materials and earthly treasures? No one picked them. This was a fortune. The little Qin proudly said, All right, master, follow me. It's within the sect's territory. There are many heavenly materials and earthly treasures inside, but you have to be careful when picking them. The two old men at the entrance are very fierce. Wait a minute. Jiang Fan felt a chill and suddenly realized where the heavenly materials and earthly treasures came from. The medicine garden. His face turned dark once again. You call stealing picking? Those are the core resources of the Green Cloud sect. Such a large number of heavenly materials and earthly treasures being stolen would certainly arouse great anger among the sect members. If they traced it back to him, thud, 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 the sudden knocking on the door startled Jiang Fan. He quickly gathered the leftover heavenly materials and earthly treasures and hid them in a corner before opening the door. Waiting outside was the cold-faced Liu Xianxian. What? Hiding a woman in there took you so long to open the door? Liu Xianxian glanced coldly into the house. Jiang Fan calmly closed the door, asking, Senior sister, what do you need? Liu Xianxian gave a sarcastic smile. How dare I order you around? Only your wife has the authority to order you. Jiang Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was still upset about the previous incident when Su Yoren refused the resources she sent. But he didn't think he was wrong. If given another chance, he would still side with Su Yoren. Therefore, he had no intention of apologizing, merely smiling. If there's nothing else, I'll go back to cultivating, senior sister. He turned to go back inside. This attitude made Liu Xianxian tremble with anger. She had been waiting for Jiang Fan to come back and comfort her. But after returning, he went straight to the Holy Hall with his two wives to cultivate. After waiting for him to return to Sect Master Peak, he still hadn't sought her out, bringing herself to seek him out, and he still acted unconcerned. Jiang Fan, I've been worrying about you for nothing. Tears welled up in Liu Xianxian's eyes, and she threw a silver coin to the ground in anger. Just consider my good intentions wasted. Jiang Fan was stunned. What had he done to her? Seeing the coin, he was taken aback. It looked just like the one Li Qingfeng had given him. He couldn't help but ask, Senior sister, what is this? Liu Xianxian, with red eyes, turned and left. At this moment, a bird flew over. It was Su Qiuning from Medicine Peak, who, upon seeing Liu Xianxian from afar, called out, Senior sister Liu, so you are here. Master sent me to ask if you are taking the Thorny Valley task. Liu Xianxian wiped her eyes and, with a hint of sobbing, said, No. She then walked away. Su Qiuning looked puzzled. She quickly noticed Jiang Fan on the ground and cheerfully flew over, her eyes shy. Junior brother Jiang, so you're staying here. What happened to senior sister Liu? Jiang Fan shook his head and picked up the silver coin, puzzled. How would I know? Seeing the coin, Su Qiuning was surprised. Ah, isn't this a martial soul coin from Medicine Peak? But this one was given to senior sister Liu, wasn't it? How did it end up here? Oh, could this thing be valuable? What is a martial soul coin? Jiang Fan asked, puzzled. Su Qiuning suddenly realized Jiang Fan was still in the novice phase. Looking at the coin with envy, she said, With a martial soul coin, you can enter the martial soul hall once. It's a dream place for disciples, comparable to practicing in the holy hall. She explained with enthusiasm, her words filled with longing. In the martial soul hall, you can spar with the projections of countless geniuses. Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan's interest was piqued. He needed a place to solidify his foundational skills. But the biggest advantage is that the martial soul hall can complete fragmented techniques. What? Jiang Fan found it incredible that fragmented techniques could be completed. Was that possible? Seeing his astonished expression, Su Qiuning covered her mouth and laughed. I didn't believe it at first either, until my master told me the martial soul tower is an object from the heavens, sealed with countless techniques, encompassing all martial arts. If you can demonstrate some of its fragmented moves, it will resonate with the technique and manifest. Some senior brothers and sisters obtain their profound-level high techniques this way. Jiang Fan's heart raced. Didn't he have a fragmented earth-level finger technique? If this finger technique were completed, wouldn't that mean having a complete earth-level finger technique? The Green Cloud sect didn't even have a complete earth-level technique, right? Su Qiuning, looking at the martial soul coin in Jiang Fan's hand, frowned in confusion. Strange, why would senior sister Liu throw it away? It wasn't easy for her to obtain this coin. Jiang Fan's heart trembled. He suddenly understood Liu Qixian's sentiments. Liu Qixian worried that Jiang Fan might not pass the disciple grading, so she gave him a coin to help him improve his strength as much as possible. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel a warmth in his heart. She had always been silently caring for him. Find an opportunity to make her happy, he thought. Su Qiuning, puzzled, said, "It shouldn't be this way. A martial soul coin, each elder gets only one a year. Senior sister Liu took many dangerous missions from Medicine Peak to get the coin from my master. A few days ago, she went to Thorny Valley and got seriously injured. My master personally took care of her for a few days and just managed to save her life. How could she just lose it like that? What?" Jiang Fan's pupils contracted. She got injured because of this, but she said nothing about it, just heavily tossed the coin on the ground. A huge wave of guilt surged in his heart. However, Su Qiuning's next words stirred countless ripples in Jiang Fan's heart. She frowned. We all thought she wanted to enhance herself desperately to avoid losing to Nangong Xiaolan. After all, she is such a proud person, she would never allow herself to lose. But why did she give up the coin? Junior brother Jiang, do you know why? Hiss. Jiang Fan's heart felt like it was stabbed with a cold dagger. The pain was excruciating. Liu Qixian was very proud, he knew that from their first meeting. She would never allow herself to lose to anyone, that was her pride. Pride rooted deep in her bones. But for Jiang Fan to gain a bit of strength, she put aside that pride. What had Jiang Fan done in return? He hadn't cherished her efforts at all, at this moment. Jiang Fan wished to slap himself. "You fool! What have you done?" He didn't hesitate any longer. He used his movement technique and quickly chased after her. He finally caught up with her in front of her cave. When Liu Qixian turned her head and saw that Jiang Fan had caught up, a flicker of light appeared in her reddened eyes. But remembering his previous attitude, she hardened her face and quickened her pace toward the cave. Jiang Fan hurriedly blocked her path. With her face tense, Liu Qixian coldly said, "Move aside." Jiang Fan, not knowing how to cheer up a girl, scratched his head and said, "Senior sister Su told me everything." "Thank you, senior sister. In the sect, apart from Yoren and Xiling, only senior sister treats me the best." Upon hearing this, Liu Qixian felt even more aggrieved. Tears welled up in her eyes, trembling as they were about to fall. Yet she became more stubborn, biting her white teeth slightly. "Who treated you well? I just don't want a 9-grade spiritual route to leave Green Cloud sect, that's all. Don't be self-indulgent." Jiang Fan felt awkward. He thought for a while, took out a green eyeball of a white crystal beast and placed it in Liu Qixian's hand. "This is for you, consider it my compensation." "I don't want it." Liu Qixian decisively threw it away. "This is the Eye of the Beast King, a natural high-grade magical artifact, take it." Jiang Fan insisted, putting it back in her hand. Liu Qixian still decisively threw it away. "I just don't want it. It's also called Gale Pearl, wearing it will greatly increase your speed." Jiang Fan shoved it into her hand for the last time. Liu Qixian threw it away again, angrily saying, "I said, I don't want it." Jiang Fan's head hurt, he muttered. "An angry woman is like a pig during the new year, you just can't hold her down." Upon hearing this, Liu Qixian's eyes widened. She felt both amused and infuriated. "Are you saying I'm a pig?" She clenched her pink fists, wanting to punch his harmless-looking face. Jiang Fan wiped his face, feeling helpless. Why is it so hard to please women? "All right, if you don't want it, I will." Jiang Fan retracted Gale Pearl. He pondered on whether to sell it or give it to someone else. But Liu Qixian quickly grabbed it back, snorting. "Who said I don't want it?" Despite her face still looking a bit angry, her heart blossomed with joy. This was a gift from Jiang Fan. She threaded it with a string and wore it around her neck. Although the bead was too large and not very attractive, it didn't stop her from showing a delighted smile. "Senior sister isn't angry anymore?" Jiang Fan was baffled. She seemed impossible to please a moment ago. Now she was fine all by herself. He really couldn't figure her out. "Who said I'm not angry?" Liu Qixian deliberately hardened her face. Jiang Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry, knowing she was in a better mood. However, the favor of the martial soul coin weighed heavily on him, especially since Liu Qixian was about to face off against Nangong Xiaolan. After some thought, he said, "Senior sister, in your match with Nangong Xiaolan, how confident are you of winning?" At the mention of her, Liu Qixian frowned. "That clingy brat. Just because I thwarted her once, she's been holding a grudge for a year. Now she's returned to provoke again, can't avoid her." To see Liu Qixian avoid, it was clear she had no confidence. Knowing Liu Qixian was already at 9th layer perfection of Foundation Establishment Realm, an idea came to Jiang Fan. The demon core of the white crystal beast was one of the main materials for refining a core formation realm spirit pill. If he could gather the other main material, Yellow Springs purifying water, he could refine a core formation realm spirit pill, pathway powder. As the name suggests, unlike ordinary core formation realm spirit pills, this was a shortcut breakthrough method. Few dared to try it, but the success rate was higher than that of traditional spirit pills. Jiang Fan pondered. "Senior sister, could you delay the match for a bit? Give me some time to see if I can help you break through to core formation realm." Finding Yellow Springs purifying water was no easy task. Even more difficult in a short time, so he couldn't offer a definite answer. "Help me break through to core formation realm?" Liu Qingxian's beautiful snowy eyes sparkled with satisfaction. It seemed Jiang Fan cared about her too. "I'll figure it out myself. You just focus on your own strength and don't let Tang Tianlong take advantage to get you a failing grade." She accepted his concern. But how could Jiang Fan, only at a few layers of foundation establishment realm, help her break through to core formation? At this moment, a figure in green robes approached gracefully, calling from afar. "Junior sister, let's go." It was Wang Chengjian. Suddenly, he noticed Jiang Fan's presence and frowned slightly. "Jiang Fan, what are you doing here? Are you prepared for the disciple grading?" "Thank you for your concern, big senior brother. I have my plans," said Jiang Fan expressionlessly. Wang Chengjian couldn't find fault in his words and decided to ignore him. He turned to Liu Qingxian. "The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's roaming auction has arrived in Green Cloud City. I am acquainted with their vice president. Let's go ask if there are any core formation realm spirit pills in this auction." It turned out, it wasn't just Jiang Fan. Wang Chengjian also wanted to help Liu Qingxian win the upcoming duel. Liu Qingxian was immediately interested. "Should we bring some gifts to show respect?" Wang Chengjian waved and smiled. "No need to be so polite. Instead of bringing gifts, prepare some rare treasures to show him. If he likes it and allows it to be auctioned, he will be delighted. And naturally, he will reveal the information we want." Really, Liu Qingxian had a hard time. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's roaming auction was exclusive to the pavilion. They held auctions year-round within the 9 sect jurisdictions. The auction treasures were all top-grade items. Where could she find a top-grade treasure? However, Wang Chengjian patted his chest. "Don't worry, I prepared a 9th layer perfection foundation establishment realm beast's beast core, almost reaching core formation. That vice president will surely be impressed." Hearing this, Liu Qingxian felt relieved and nodded joyfully. "All right, let's go." Jiang Fan's eyes also lit up. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's auction. The chances of finding Yellow Springs purifying water increased significantly. He happened to have many materials from the white crystal beast that he could sell. "Senior sister, I'll go with you." Wang Chengjian frowned deeply. He had finally found an opportunity to be alone with Liu Qingxian. Jiang Fan just had to interfere, but he couldn't chase him away, so he said, "You can come with us. However, the vice president doesn't like strangers. I can't take you to see him." Jiang Fan was speechless. "Who needs your favor? A 9th layer perfection foundation establishment realm beast's demon core could impress that vice president. Surely his own beast king materials with demon emperor bloodline wouldn't leave him indifferent." Green Cloud City, Plaza. The staff of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion auction house were busily setting up the auction venue. In a few days, they would officially hold a grand auction. The core members of the auction house were resting in a nearby villa. "I am Wang Chengjian from the Green Cloud sect, and I have contacted Vice President Su. Please grant me access." The guards near the villa were strictly on duty. Not even a fly could hope to get in. Wang Chengjian handed the guard captain at the gate a crystal stone, and the latter finally showed a polite expression. "Vice President Su has already instructed us. Young Master Wang, please come in." Suddenly, he noticed 2 others behind Wang Chengjian. His brows furrowed. "Vice President Su didn't mention that there would be others. I dare not let them pass casually." Wang Chengjian, helpless, took out several more crystal stones and whispered, "This is the daughter of the Green Cloud sect master. Please be accommodating." Upon learning Liu Qingxian's identity, the guard captain no longer obstructed them. Such a status entitled her to meet Vice President Su. Then he looked at Jiang Fan. "And this is..." Wang Chengjian displayed an indifferent attitude. "An ordinary disciple." The guard captain imposed his authority. "You two may go in." "He cannot." Liu Qingxian frowned slightly. Jiang Fan had come with them. How could they leave him alone here? "Junior brother Wang, can you think of a way?" she pleaded with Wang Chengjian. But Jiang Fan interrupted. "Senior sister, you go ahead, it's all right." He hadn't expected Vice President Su to be so hard to meet, but it didn't matter. He only came today to inquire about the Yellow Springs purifying water in advance. When the official auction happened, he would take another look. He bid farewell and turned to leave. However, since he was in Green Cloud City, he might as well visit various shops selling heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Perhaps he could find the Yellow Springs purifying water. Before long, he arrived at a treasure pavilion named Myriad Treasures Building, specializing in selling all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, divine weapons, etc. This was the most luxurious treasure building in Green Cloud City. What other stores had, it had. What they didn't have, it also had. If he couldn't find the Yellow Springs purifying water here, there was no need to look elsewhere. But just after entering, he unexpectedly encountered Wen Hongyao. At this moment, she was being cajoled by a female disciple in heavenly Mechanism Pavilion attire, holding her arm. "Aunt, please help me. If I can't find good treasures, Vice President Su will demote me." Wen Hongyao sighed. "Haven't I already taken you around? If there are no good treasures, what can I do? Do you expect me to auction off my old bones at your auction house?" Regarding her niece, Wen Shengnan. She was willing to help, but unfortunately, she had nothing valuable enough for the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion auction house. She tried to find one or two items in the city, but without success. Just then, she saw Jiang Fan walking toward her and her face lit up with affection. Before Jiang Fan could greet her, she beamed. "Jiang, what a coincidence!" When Shengnan curiously scrutinized Jiang Fan, what a strange sight. Her usually strict aunt was being so friendly to a young disciple. "Disciple Jiang Fan greets Elder Wen." Jiang Fan politely greeted her. When Hongyao grew more pleased with Jiang Fan, the more she looked at him, and she asked with a smile, "What brings you here?" Jiang Fan answered truthfully, "I am looking for news about the Yellow Springs purifying water." When Hongyao frowned and muttered, "That is a rare item and it is very hard to find," unexpectedly. When Shengnan by her side stroked her chin and said, "You need the Yellow Springs purifying water." What a coincidence. The upcoming Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion auction has a bottle. What? Jiang Fan was taken aback. He didn't know how to find news about the Yellow Springs purifying water, and yet this girl knew. When Hongyao introduced, "This is my niece, a supervisor at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion auction house. If she says it is there, it must be there." She then added, "However, the Yellow Springs purifying water is very expensive. Do you have enough money? If you don't, I can lend it to you." She cherished Jiang Fan's medicine refining talent too much. When Shengnan was dumbfounded. "Aunt, if someone has taken over your body, just blink." Her stingy and severe aunt had never shown her niece such kindness. When Hongyao glared at her and said, "Jiang Fan is a very capable disciple. If you had half his ability, you wouldn't be begging everyone for treasures." When Shengnan was speechless. She hadn't done anything but got a scolding. Irritated, she sized up Jiang Fan. "Really? Show me what you are capable of?" Jiang Fan's mouth twitched slightly. Unexpectedly involved in this, he cupped his hands and smiled. "Elder Wen praises too much." When Shengnan pursed her lips, intending to make a snide remark further. But then, a gong sounded inside the Myriad Treasures Pavilion. The customers in the pavilion immediately became energized, and even the passing martial artists flocked in. In the blink of an eye, the previously quiet Myriad Treasures Pavilion was thronged with people. If not for Elder Wen's strong presence deterring others from approaching, the three of them would have been separated by the crowd. "Aunt, what is going on?" Wen Shengnan asked in astonishment. When Hongyao calculated the time with her fingers and realized, "Every 10 days, the Myriad Treasures Pavilion offers a batch of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, panacea at a special price. Today happens to be the day. You guys can see if there is anything you need. If so, you can save quite a bit of money." "Really?" Jiang Fan showed a trace of curiosity. However, he also understood. Typically, the items on special offer were either niche or of little value, difficult to sell. There were many pitfalls among them. One needed keen eyes to find good deals. When Shengnan crossed her arms and chuckled, "That is indeed fortunate. Evaluating the value of items is my job." She glanced at Jiang Fan. Intending to show her ability in front of him, she confidently said, "Junior brother, if you spot anything, I will help you evaluate it." Jiang Fan couldn't help but smile wryly. He had no desire to hunt for bargains. But the other party had offered, so he couldn't refuse her kindness, thus he said, "Thank you, senior sister." Before long, 4 brawny men from the Myriad Treasures Pavilion carried out a huge, 3-zhang wide round plate from the back hall. The plate was filled with an array of dazzling items. As Jiang Fan had analyzed, they were all rare or overvalued items, unsellable goods or near-expiry panacea, etc. As soon as they appeared, the martial artist scrambled to purchase them. When Shengnan observed calmly, her eyes sharp and focused. Suddenly, she grabbed a jade bottle, her eyes lighting up. A mid-grade foundation establishment pill. At half price? Junior brother, you are in luck. Mid-grade foundation establishment pills are rare. At half price, it's a steal. Jiang Fan took one glance, and then with a blank expression said, "The quality is too poor. Even at a 30% discount, it's a loss." When Hangyao was surprised. With her eyes, the pill's smooth and glossy surface, ample spirit light didn't seem like poor quality. When Shengnan was taken aback, she couldn't help but laugh. "Do you know more about pills, or do I?"